Chapter 766, Grand Wedding. Chapter 766, Grand Wedding. Proofreader, Papatonks. Wu Yue. Taking a deep breath, Elder Yuan sighed. Ever since you took your seat as sect leader, I have not once heard you address me as master. Xia Wui's eyes shook, nodding, because Master once said that the ruler of a sect drives the entire sect, wielding absolute power above anyone else's. I could only keep the word master in my heart and never utter it. After that day, the demon-scheming sect only had sect leader Xian and High Venerable Yuan Xingong. Nothing more, nothing less. There's no other meaning to it. Do you still remember my teaching? Then you should know that when the bigger picture is involved, I don't make decisions based on feelings. Elder Yuan let out a long breath, then walked as he said, "Step down, taking a leisure, venerable office. Zhuo Fan won't go as far as kill for my sake. It's great that I also have the true self art I mentioned once and can help you to understand it with the time you'll have. Being so high in status for so long, you've let your emotions control you. Stepping down and pondering on Tao might be the best thing for you." Xia Wui's face twitched. He clenched his fists and gnashed his teeth. "Master, are you that heartless? Would you rather get an outsider on my seat than help me keep it? It's not a matter of wanting. It's that Providence made it, so I can't." "Humph, Providence." Xia Wu flicked his sleeve as he roared. "You just think Zhuo Fan has those geezers under his thumb, and now you don't want to see the sect suffer. But have you ever thought that without rules there's only chaos? If demon-scheming sect leader can be taken so easily, what's the point of sect rules? How will the sect be ruled later? Won't it be a mess?" Elder Yuan turned around to look into Xia Wui's crazed eyes and chuckled. "Wu Yue, you really need to step down. As far as we know, if you get public support, you can have the world. It doesn't matter if it's done by lying or stealing. The important thing is to understand it. Do you know why I was content with staying at the labor office for the past centuries? It wasn't just for peace of mind, it was because that was the closest place to true human nature, where the public's was most obvious. You've been standing above everyone for too long, you've already gone blind to it. You need to step down and ponder on the true Tao." "Humph, ponder what? Tao what? Who doesn't know that in this world power is everything? What good will having Tao in your mind do to make me stronger? Nothing." Stomping, Xia Wu glared as he cursed. "High Venerable, you've been around those stinkin' labors for too long and became weak. You're no longer the best expert in the demon-scheming sect who held supreme power. A mere Zhuo Fan got a bunch of ninnies to take arms and already got you scared. Now you come to me to step down and learn some weird true self art? Humph, master. To be honest, I never gave a damn about that art. What other use is there to it than to look weaker? I am the great sect leader of the demon-scheming sect. I need to show them all my strength and get their respect. I'm not like you, always with your nose down." Xia Wui's yelling shook Elder Yuan to the core. He was in pain as his withered white hair blew with every outburst from Xia Wu. Elder Yuan did not react. He was just extremely disappointed in his disciple he helped so many years. "I now see I shouldn't have given the true self art to you. You can't see its value and just throw it away like junk. Thank God there's still Zhuo Fan." Elder Yuan closed his eyes and turned around. As he opened them again, gone was the pain and sadness, replaced by resolve and force as he spoke. "Let's go out together. I've already drawn out a reason for your stepping down." Elder Yuan stepped towards the door once more, with conviction. "Master, you can't do this. I'm your only disciple." Bam! Elder Yuan shut the door as Xia Wu wailed behind him without remorse, leaving him all alone. "Master, are you that heartless?" Xia Wui's eyes shook and he closed them. He gnashed his teeth and dug his nails into his palms in anger. How the hell is that punk so much better than me that even my own master would forsake me? Letting out a long breath, Xia Wui's eyes shone with bloodlust meanwhile. Elder Yuan looked calm, but his heart was filled with pain and sorrow. His disciple who used to care so much about the sect, just like him, was now trapped in a deep whirlpool. Offering the old man only disappointment and regret, Zhuo Fan stood up and bowed. "Master! You're about to be sect leader. It's best if you call me High Venerable. In the demon scheming sect, status must be clearly defined in private and public, and not let emotion interfere with it." Elder Yuan chuckled, preaching as he did back then with Xia Wue. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow and said, "Master is mistaken. Status must be upheld. But now I'm not fulfilling my duty as the sect leader, since I see you as my master. Before you is your disciple, and it's only natural for a disciple to show respect to his master." Startled, Elder Yuan gave him a long look, then sighed. "I see it now. Private is private, while public is public. When there was primal chaos, heaven and earth were one. But as the yin and yang separated, so did the two. That means private and public are interchangeable. How foolish of me. Pushing him towards power and not giving him any friendship had made him turn out like this. It's all my fault." Master, what do you mean?" Zhuo Fan was stunned. Elder Yuan chuckled and shook his head. "Nothing. I just have one request. Xia Wue would come out, and maybe he'll step down. For the safety of the sect, he mustn't get involved with more people. While a newly ascended emperor makes bold policies and snuffs out his remaining rivals, the demon scheming sect is small and won't survive such a purge." "Oh, sure. Since Master asked, I of course won't deny High Venerable's suggestion. At worst, I'll just be thrown off my seat and will have to just leave. I don't care much for it anyway." Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan nodded and laughed as he looked at Chu Qingqing. She nodded. Not minding it at all, Elder Yuan gave a heartfelt nod, but had a bitter smile inside. Zhuo Fan said that he'll consider the demon scheming sect as his home with me here, but in the end he doesn't see it like that. Or else he wouldn't disregard being a sect leader so much. Just what can I do to make him see the sect as his home? I have to settle this, or the kid will just run off. Creak. A door opened, and Xia Wue came out with a dark face. He still had a foul look when he saw Zhuo Fan, but he was no longer crazed. Elder Yuan spoke. "Well, have you decided?" "Yeah." Totally unwilling to do this, Xia Wue still gave a nod, letting out a deep breath. Elder Yuan ignored him as he spoke to the couple. "You three follow me. It's time we settle this." Elder Yuan was the first to walk ahead. Zhuo Fan, Chu Qingqing, and Xia Wue were right behind him. Rumble. With a heavy sound, the main hall's doors opened. The crowd outside quickly turned their heads around. Venerable Bai's side had been tense all this time. Would Steward Zhuo get killed? How were they to carry out the uprising then? Fortune had it that they soon saw Zhuo Fan and Chu Qingqing coming out and let out a relieved breath. The eyes turned to Elder Yuan, waiting for him to explain what had transpired inside, knowing their desires. Elder Yuan coughed before shouting, "Demon scheming sect, listen up! In view of demon scheming sect disciple, Zhuo Fan's exceptional conduct and remarkable achievement at Double Dragon Gathering in fighting for our sect's honor, of the glorious win he had gotten by leading the sect's experts and defeating Mystical Heaven sect. After thorough deliberating with the sect leader decided to step down, letting Zhuo Fan take his place. Please look forward to the ceremony being held tomorrow. Come again." Everyone went slack-jawed. Venerable Shur and the labor office's oldies were all standing there incredulously at what they heard. High Venerable forced sect leader to step down so Zhuo Fan would go up. With Xia Wue's vile temper, they could guess he would never accept this. Unless High Venerable gave him no choice, they all looked at Elder Yuan in shock and puzzlement. They all knew the relationship between High Venerable and sect leader. But no one thought he'd side with Zhuo Fan. Still, there was no attempt at crushing the uprising, nor stalling the situation. He helped them instead. This decision was beyond perplexing. Not even Venerable Shur could make sense of it. Wu Yue. High Venerable looked at Xia Wue. Xia Wue gnashed his teeth and stepped forward, forced to do this against his will. The sect leader is someone of ability. Zhuo Fan's merits are unprecedented, and I shall step down, offering my last meager help for the sect's bright future. Xia Wei said that last part like he was choking. It was utterly humiliating for a proud man like him to say that he was beneath a disciple. Elder Yuan chuckled and turned to the people. Tomorrow the sect leader succession ceremony shall take place along with one more happy event. We will hold for our brand new sect leader a grand wedding to celebrate the union between sect leader and his lady. Ugh. Everyone faltered. Chapter 767, Shifting Winds. Chapter 767, Shifting Winds. Proofreader, Papatonks, a wedding. The crowd looked at High Venerable in disbelief. Even the lucky couple was stunned at his declaration. The last they heard, demonic cultivators were supposed to be cruel and emotionless. So, how did it turn into a public wedding? Marriage was a promise between a man and a woman, one of love. It wasn't the same as a fling. Was this really fine, breaking a thousands of years old rule? Even if it was done by the High Venerable and the next sect leader. High Venerable, sect leader stepping down for the good of the sect is an act of virtue, to be remembered through the ages. But for the new sect leader to break sect rules in such a grand fashion the very first day he took seat, Venerable sure took it upon himself, as the defender of the demonic path, to be a buzzkill. Zhuofan, you might have one, but don't get too cocky. You can't treat sect rules as nothing. What wedding? You're clearly dishonoring the demon-scheming sect. We can turn a blind eye to having a woman, so go have your fun. But now you want to make an issue out of it? This is a blatant disregard to all of us. At this time, Venerable Bai and the rest, having Zhuofan's back, should have stepped in. But even they found this to be a taboo. They were just stuck as to what to say, giving Venerable Sure a cold look. Elder Yuan said to Zhuofan, "See, these geezers are against your wedding and don't care who's the sect leader. I told you so." "You're right, but isn't this a bit too outrageous? This is about breaking a thousands of years old rule, just as I take my seat. Look, even Venerable Bai isn't saying anything. We're still demonic cultivators. Don't tell me you don't want to hold a grand wedding with Miss Chu." Elder Yuan rose an eyebrow, turning to Chu Qingqing. Zhuofan had a bitter smile. "I'm a demonic cultivator and know its taboos. While I might be an exception, I still can't break every demonic cultivator." "Not quite, Zhuofan. Don't you recall what I told you? The condition for a demonic cultivator to be in love?" "Of course I do. That is for advanced players, a stage they must overcome." Zhuofan rose an eyebrow. Elder Yuan nodded. "Yes, for those pursuing Tao, they can control love. I've always lamented how many in demon-scheming sect had become obsessed while very few pursued Tao. Sect's rule is indeed there to protect our way of cultivation. But ever since you came, I discovered that with our constant talks, everyone must have their own path. The 4 scheming demons curbed their thirst for blood. Gue, who subdued his savagery. Elder after elder revealed their Tao heart. We are all products of our environment. I believe that with you as the sect leader, the demon-scheming sect will become a true sect of the demonic path and not one filled with demons without substance. As our sect develops, desire is a step all cultivators must overcome. We can't have an ancient rule halt our sect's future. No? Elder Yuan is truly wise and broad-minded. Zhuofan's face twitched as he looked at him with cupped hands. Elder Yuan waved him off. Ha, I'm doing it all for the sect's growth. People without a path will find it harder and harder to grow the more they cultivate. This is, in the end, a daring bet. It's far too soon to tell just how many people will be able to overcome this trial. If a great deal of disciples die from their deep desires, I will be condemned in our history. But if it's the other way around, by overcoming this threshold, the demon-scheming sect will be changed as a whole. Zhuofan nodded in admiration at his boldness. Moreover, Elder Yuan turned to Zhuofan with a snicker. With demon-scheming sect's grand wedding, you can finally belong to this place. Ha. Startled, Zhuofan stood agape at Elder Yuan. He would not soon forget where he and Qing Cheng would be holding the wedding. That was for sure. With this, Elder Yuan is tying me to this place. Zhuo Fan took a deep breath and shouted, "Everyone from now on, Demon Scheming Sect no longer forbids fraternization. My first order as your new sect leader is to abolish this rule." SS. They all gasped in shock at Zhuo Fan's declaration. After a bit of smooth talking, an ancient rule for thousands of years was broken just like that. Any past sect leader that had done this received immediate refusal from all the elders and venerables. This was against their traditional values. How can you just break ancestors' rules? This time was one peculiar exception, though. The one to announce it was the High Venerable himself. Also, Venerable Bai's faction had Zhuo Fan's back. They had to agree, even if they didn't want to. Why else would he want him as sect leader then? So, 2/3 of the elders gave a silent approval, leaving only Venerable Shi's faction to stammer. Lost for words, their position was the most awkward. Zhuo Fan's side had risen up, while Venerable Shi's side followed the trend. They were still part of the old regime. Now that Xie Wuyue stepped down and Zhuo Fan went up, it was the moment where every empire's court went through a thorough cleaning. The fact he usually was against Zhuo Fan was nothing, since he was a venerable and had 100 people behind him. In times of peace, massacres would only lead one astray from public support, endangering his seat. Now, though, in a time of insurrection, killing was at anyone's discretion. Who told you to go against us? As Zhuo Fan declared this at such a critical moment, he could not refuse it, or it would be used as an excuse to kill him since time immemorial. The greatest death toll was when a regime change happened. Some died in the chaos of war, while others because they opened their mouths in such a time. He could, of course, sip his lip. Venerable Shi, this kid is outrageous. He wants to break our ancestors' rule. Aren't you going to say anything? One elder was incensed and whispered to Venerable Shi. Venerable Shi glared at him and cursed in a low voice. "Shut it! Are you trying to get me killed?" Xie Wuyue and Zhuo Fan finally came to terms, and now he lacks the reason to clean his house. You want me to get his attention? It's better to stand down. The elder jerked back. Venerable Shi squinted. Then he gave an eerie smile. Zhuo Fan, bravo. Be cocky all you want. You're just deserts would come after offending so many people. Long live sect leader Zhuo. In this eerie silence, a sudden shout echoed that drew their attention. They looked back to see Kuei Lang as he shouted. His son followed his example, then spreading throughout Zhuo Fan's side. The shouts got louder and longer. With no opposition, Zhuo Fan shook his head. It seems to me, only Kuei Lang really means it. The rest are only copying him. Guess misery does love company, ha ha ha. Dad, I heard some old coot is messing with you. Where's he at? A childish voice sounded, followed by Gu Santong's appearance. Luo clan was rushing over as well with hard looks, but then they found that there was no war going on here. As the crowd cheered, instead, Elder Yuan did not mind their arrival and turned to Zhuo Fan. Are they the army you set up outside? Ha ha ha. You're really cautious, feeling more than half of the sect's elders weren't enough and you called for backup. I bet you won't even need anyone else, not when your freakish son alone can crush an entire sect, just like he did with Mystical Heaven Sect. Elder Yuan, you knew? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Elder Yuan chuckled. Of course I knew. You think as a high venerable I'd be at ease knowing you'd take so many experts away? I saw it myself, every move you made. That's why I never wanted to resort to violence. Because your son is too weird. I don't think I can take him, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan's brow shook and he laughed. He then called Luo Yinhai and young Sanzi to him to ease their battle spirit, as he explained finding out Zhuo Fan got high venerable support in becoming the sect leader. Luo Yinhai cheered that Zhuo Fan got through this mess without bloodshed. The sad part was that Zhuo Fan would remain in the demon scheming sect and couldn't return to the Luo clan. Not soon, at least, but knowing Zhuo Fan was free to marry Chu Qingqing. Everyone offered their blessings thus. On the second morning, Under the eyes of demon-scheming sex elders, Xia Yue stepped down and handed over the seat to Zhuo Fan. While in the evening, it was Zhuo Fan's wedding on this day, the dark and cold demon-scheming sect was brimming with lively music and cheers. None aware that this happiness would be followed by shifting winds, bringing crisis to Zhuo Fan's doorstep. Chapter 768, Chosen. Chapter 768, Chosen. Proofreader, Papatonks. Bam. At the festivities, all the guests were happily chatting like they were the ones getting married. Only one was drinking away his sorrows in a brooding mood. Xia Yue, after stepping down, he got one really boring office as venerable. Of the fearful elders he usually saw, now there was none sparing him a glance. Everyone was minding their business and enjoying the party. They all knew that there was no such thing as stepping down from sect leader in the demon-scheming sect. A new sect leader would only be appointed when the old one was on his last breath, or when he got killed and a new one was elected. A nice way to put it was that Xia Yue stepped down, while more crude way would be to say he was driven off his chair. Who the hell would pay attention to a morose dog? They all avoided him out of fear when status faded. So to the people, the lofty sect leader Xia was now the dislike of the public, and no one wanted him. His age was over. Curse you, Zhuo Fan! I vow to get you for this. Just you wait. He yanked a pot of wine and started downing it in hatred. Just then, a familiar figure appeared. Seeing him so miserable, he shook his head. Yue, isn't it just a sect leader? What's so great about it? Being venerable is great as well. You've got so much freedom, Fatty Yang. Xia Yue squinted and put the pot down. He looked at Fin Yang and mocked. Why are you here? Aren't you with Zhuo Fan? Go have your fun with all those disdaining me. Or have you come to ridicule me? Fin Yang sighed. Yue, we've been brothers for centuries. The bond we made at the Double Dragon Gathering is unbreakable. How can I help others harm you? But to be totally honest, your time is gone. Instead of trying to get the people on your side, you threaten them. Why else could Zhuo Fan take advantage and force you to stand down? Yesterday as well, I gave you the chance to settle this, but you wouldn't hear it. Zhuo Fan as well wanted to solve this problem, but you were still so stubborn. Who was it that didn't want a peaceful resolution in the end? It was Venerable Bai's side. Why? Because they feared you'd settle the score. You should think about this. Humph, my business has nothing to do with you. Xia Yue snorted and took another gulp of wine. Actually, after he finally calmed down and thought about it, he knew Fin Yang had offered him many chances to get away, but he was too angry to listen. Fin Yang was a true brother. Instead of looking after himself and staying with the labor office's elders, he tried to help him. It was easy to imagine that Fin Yang would be isolated now. But even so, he still chose to help when he was vulnerable. Xia Yue was grateful for his help, but he just wouldn't admit it. The worst are Zhuo Fan and those from the labor office. I brought him to the sect. I helped him get those elders into the labor office to stand up to Venerable Shi's faction. Now that they got power, they came at me. Damn ingrates. Humph! Just like a true demonic cultivator, without an ounce of loyalty. Xia raved as he gulped down some more wine. Talking to Fin Yang while also venting, Fin Yang shook his head and patted his shoulder. Brother, let it go. You're lucky High Venerable came to save you. Look around you at the people at this wedding. The Luo clan aren't people to be messed with. Then there's that little monster. If you start fighting, no one can save you. Fin Yang sighed and left helplessly. At another table, there were smiles all around. But when they saw him coming, they turned cold, as if blaming him for taking Xia Yue's side. Yesterday, Fin Yang was no longer seen as one of them. Xia Yue's eyes shone with hatred. His hand clenched and crushed the wine pot. Sect leader, must you break the pot? Venerable Shi came over with 5 elders, sitting at his table with a sinister smile. After losing, only a coward takes his anger out on wine. Bam! Xia Yue slammed the table as he glared. What do you want? You think you can just mock me now that I lost my seat? Don't forget you're not with Zhuo Fan. Wait till he solidifies his rule, and then he'll come to you. I bet you won't be as lucky as I was when that happens. Lucky? Ha ha ha. Stepping down was lucky for sect leader? I never knew sect leader's ambition amounts to so little. Siawiwa gnashed his teeth and clenched his fists. Venerable Sure, if you run your mouth one more time, then you'll be sorry. What are you going to attack? Humph. Venerable Sure sneered. You didn't when you stepped down, and now, after you idled away, want to show off. Is that all you amount to? Venerable Sure. Siawiwa shot to his feet, but before he struck, Venerable Sure grabbed his arm as he warned. Right now, more than half the sect is on Zhuofan's side. You need me if you want to stand up again. Or is that too hard for you to realize? Siawiwa shook and squinted at him, hope glimmering in his eyes. What did you say? Do you have a way to get my seat back? Of course. It doesn't do any of us good with Zhuofan at the helm. Venerable Sure nodded. You're right. Half of the sect is on his side. He must be seeing my side as a thorn in his side, waiting to be removed. Our best option is to join forces. Siawiwa calmed his heart and sat down. What's the point? I already lost. Why, your power will sooner or later end up swallowed up by Zhuofan. You think he's that easy to handle? Ha ha ha, I know that. Or how else would an outsider defeat both of us in just 5 years since coming here? Venerable Sure mocked and sent to Siawiwa, sect leader. Do you know why High Venerable did not care for you, his disciple, and settled on Zhuofan? Siawiwa's face grew hard, feeling pain for his master abandoning him over an outsider. Am I so bad that he would want to ruin me? Whoosh! Venerable Sure showed a jade slip. Ha ha ha. Take this and you'll have your answer. Siawiwa was focusing on it for a few moments, then cried, This. Yes, these are the ones chosen to enter Double Dragon Manor. Venerable Sure's eyes shone. Zhuofan, Chu Qingqing, Shui Ruohua, Danner, and other girls are there. High Venerable is playing a grand scheme. As you know, joining the Double Dragon Manor under the Exalted will advance hundreds of years in just a few years and would greatly promote the sect. If High Venerable won in suppressing Zhuofan's uprising, it was the same as losing Zhuofan and Chu Qingqing, the future experts of the sect. They're sure to have great power in the future, no less than High Venerable. So how could he let them slip away? While taking them in was different, greatly bolstering the sect. Zhuofan won't go alone to Double Dragon Manor, but following him will be the disciples he snatched from Mystical Heaven sect that were admitted as well. High Venerable must be tearing up from the joy. Humph! He loses his prized disciple's future and earns 6 experts for the sect. This deal is clearly enticing. If I were High Venerable, I'd do the same. Venerable Sure had a vague smile. But there's one problem, helping the uprising rise to power, affecting his name. Every expert pays great attention to this. I, for example, could not do it, but High Venerable is selfless, thinking only about the sect. He is a true man compared to us laymen. Siawiwa tightened his grip on the jade slip. In other words, High Venerable cared more about Zhuofan and them than me. It's not because they were stronger. Of course, when did an expert like High Venerable lose in terms of power? They say that when Mystical Heaven sect's 4 dragons killed one of our elders, High Venerable knew he was weaker and took impermanence 5 to attack. Though they retreated, they still got to kill 5 elders of Mystical Heaven sect under the 4 dragons' eyes and make them pay the price so that Mystical Heaven sect won't slight us. Venerable Sure sighed. That's how High Venerable is. The stronger the enemy, the more unbending he is. He only cares about the future of the sect. Siawiwa's eyes shook as he spoke after a pause. Where did you get the list, Venerable Sure? A month ago, Double Dragon Manor sent the list to every sect. Sect leader did not receive it since High Venerable stepped in to take it. It seems High Venerable understands sect leader and your jealousy. That's why he never showed it, ha ha ha. Siawiwa spoke coldly, Double Dragon Manor gives the list to every sect leader, so how do you know of this? You have outside help. Will sect leader arrest me? Venerable Sure, snickered Xia. Wu smiled, his eyes shining. No, now I know how you'll help me. Fine, I agree, ha ha ha. Chapter 769, Bridal Room. Chapter 769, Bridal Room. Proofreader, Papatonks. Wedding night, a time of bliss after a loud evening. Zhuofan, in a glamorous red robe and high footwear, entered the lavishly decorated bridal room. Before closing the door, he saw on the edge of the bridal bed a marvelous figure, waiting for him to take off her red veil, grinning. Zhuofan was filled with joy as he slowly came forward and lifted the veil to see a beauty incredible to this world, of delicate features and even more mesmerizing than before. Even Zhuofan was struck speechless. Forgetting to take off the veil completely, what are you staring at? Chu Qingqing cast a faint gaze on his lost expression. She blushed and rolled her eyes at him, waking up with a start. Zhuofan beamed, taking off the veil and holding her hands as he got drunk on her beauty. Ha ha ha! I'm only appreciating my wife's unique features. Oh, there's no one in this whole wide world that can compare. I must have saved the world in some past life to deserve you. Zip it! What kind of demon saves the world? Destroying its peace is more like it. Chu Qingqing teased. Despite the happiness she felt scratching his head, Zhuofan nodded. True, how can I save the world? I bet that since I ruined the world at some point, heaven gave me you to tie me down and not sin again. Ha ha ha! Even heaven is scared of me, honey trapping me. What honey trap? When did I entice you? Why, you didn't want to seduce me. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow with a mischievous smile. Chu Qingqing glared, but turned her head away. Despite it all, her mouth formed a smile. Zhuofan snickered. Since you won't tempt me, then I'll have to play rough. Zhuofan sprung on her, pinning Chu Qingqing to the bed. With a flick, he had the candle snuffed out, plunging the bridal room into darkness. Ah! How could you? Chu Qingqing cried out. Zhuofan grinned. Why can't I? You can't beat me anyway. You brute. That's me, a brute. I thought you knew that from day one. Zhuofan showed an evil grin. But now you're this brute's wife, getting pushed around every day. It's too late for regrets now, ha ha ha. Suddenly, Chu Qingqing whimpered from the flood of emotions. Zhuofan said nothing as well, only letting the odd bang and crash resound in the room outside the bridal room. Kuei Lang saw the lights were out and showed a pleased smile. Steward Zhua is a beast even when it comes to his wedding night. My role model. A rotten one more like it. Han Qianying glared at him, then smiled. Kuei Lang scratched his head and looked at her. Darling, it's been so many years. Should we? Dad. Kuei Gang came over and broke their mood. The party is over. The elders and venerables have left. Ugh, that was damn tiring. Then go to bed. Your mom and I are going right now. Kuei Lang rushed to say, but Kuei Gang stuck out his chest and said, How can I? We've just been reunited, and I must do my duty as a good son. No matter what, I want to spend the night with Mom for all the years I missed. What a good child. Han Qianying rubbed his head. Kuei Lang glared and gnashed his teeth. Get lost. You'll have plenty of time to make up for it. Tonight is mine. Dad is also doing his duty. Kuei Gang's face twitched. Kuei Lang was stumped. This kid is a demonic cultivator after all. What is it taking so long for him to grow up? Didn't he hear that absence makes the heart grow fonder? Moreover, I haven't seen your mom in 2 decades. Damn, brat, I told you to go. Don't talk back, or I'll... Fine, do your duty. I won't disturb you. Kuei Gang jerked back, and then he bowed to Han Qianying. Mother, I'll greet you tomorrow. Kuei Gang then left, puzzled and cursing inside. How can a husband do his duty to his wife? Won't a man get tired? Doing my duty to my mother, and then my wife, am I fated for a life of misery? Kuei Gang shuddered, and side Han Chenying could not help but giggle at his clueless look and then glared at Kuei Lang. "Why are you so mean to a child?" It's not my fault the kid is oblivious. Tonight you come with me alone." Kuei Lang smiled and wiggled his eyebrows. Han Chenying blushed, and she left as she held his hand. While this side was filled with happy couples, there was one corner that looked desolate. Shui Ruohua, Yun Shuang, Yongning, and many other girls watched the lights go out in the bridal room with sadness in their hearts. "Shuanger, do you think Shuofan will want us now that he has sister Qingqing?" Yongning asked, pondering for a bit. Shuanger shook her head. "I don't know what he's thinking. But what does it matter? And hasn't sister Qingqing said it? As long as he's fine, everything is meaningless." "Yeah, sister Qingqing is so committed. She finally got to enter this cruel man's heart. Maybe we should do the same." Yongning mused. Luo Yunhai shook his head. "Princess Yongning, with your trickster heart, you'll never win Brother Zhuo over." "What trickster?" "Luo Yunhai, don't spout nonsense. My heart is pure." Yes, Princess is of pure heart, but just like my sister, you still have a desire to possess him." Luo Yunhai sighed as he gave a long look at the room. "But sister Qingqing has no such desire with Brother Zhuo. I believe this was the reason he accepted her in the end." Shuddering, the girls looked at each other before looking down. Compared to Chu Qingqing, they were each selfish to some degree. Wanting Zhuo Fan for themselves, Zhuo Fan was a demonic expert, so he was cunning and sensitive to others' desires. He could read them like a book, and it was because of this he did not accept any of them, even though he knew their feelings for him were true. "How will my sister take it?" Luo Yunhai sighed and held his head in the morning. A ray of sunlight peeked through the window and into the lavish bridal room. Zhuo Fan opened his sleepy eyes. He moved his left hand, only to find his side empty, startled. Zhuo Fan looked over to see the fairy no longer there. Looking ahead, he finally caught Chu Qingqing dressing her fair body, looked incredibly beautiful, through Zhuo Fan's hazy eyes, seeing Zhuo Fan awake. Chu Qingqing smiled. The ever-cautious steward Zhuo slept like a log. "Aren't you afraid of an ambush? That's what a night with you does to me." Zhuo Fan chuckled and lay back on the bed. He stared at the plain ceiling and smiled. "A woman is a hero's downfall. That's an apt description. Qingqing, taking you in my arms to sleep, I was brought back to the broken house in drifting Flower City, of the tranquility I felt, and I didn't feel like going back to the tumultuous and chaotic world again." Chu Qingqing shook and smiled. "At that time we were only playing, while now I am really your wife. That must be why my heart is at peace." Getting up, Zhuo Fan came behind Chu Qingqing and hugged her. "Qingqing, did you know? Ever since those couple of days in drifting Flower City, I've always been yearning for it and feared it, because I found that with you, my ambition to strive forward is being worn down. That's why I rejected you. But in the end, you still grabbed hold of me, and there's nothing that I want to do more than stay with you forever." Zhuo Fan rested his head in Chu Qingqing's beautiful hair, whispering sweet nothings. Chu Qingqing felt ticklish, but her heart was bouncing in joy. "I don't want to hold you back. All I want is to let you achieve your wish. There's no point now. All I want is for us to grow old together. Nothing else matters." He stuffed his head in her hair and, for the first time, let go of his pride. "Qingqing, Elder Yuan was right. It's hard to overcome love. It seems I am trapped, and it's all your fault. You must take responsibility for me." Chapter 770, Another Journey. Chapter 770, Another Journey. Proofreader, Papatonks. Chu Qingqing giggled, then teased him. "Why are you suddenly so clingy like a child?" "Yes, I'm a child, and I want to stick to you for as long as I live. Shit." However, Zhuo Fan didn't get to act spoiled as much as he wanted as he lifted his head from that fragrance hair, exclaiming, "This is incredible." Chu Qingqing turned around and gave him a curious look. "What is it, Zhuo Fan? What happened?" "I advanced to the 5th layer of Radiant Stage, yet I only slept. Joie Fan stood dumbstruck for a moment, then looked in shock at her. Ching Ching, your empty spirit body is as amazing as they say. After just a night of dual cultivation, you helped me advance. Come, there's no time to waste. Let's do it again. Blushing, Chu Ching Ching glared. In the middle of the day? People will laugh at us. Who will? We're doing an honorable thing, dual cultivation. Come on, I just can't wait anymore. We'll boost our strength while also tightening our marital bond. Ha ha ha. Joie Fan beamed, sitting on the bed with a nasty glimmer in his eyes. Chu Ching Ching perked her mouth, faking resistance as she followed him, however. They didn't get to start as urgent knocking came from the door. Ahem, sect leader Joie. As any other cultivator, you could dual cultivate how much you like. But you're our leader now. Doing it in broad daylight is setting a bad example. Elder Yuan. Joie Fan cried out, and Chu Ching Ching blushed, knowing the old coot heard them. She glared at him and rushed to open the door. Chu Ching Ching, with a red face, slightly bowed before Elder Yuan. Joie Fan looked annoyed. Master, I thought that since I'm a sect leader, I'm the boss here, so there can't be anyone stupid enough to listen in on my chambers. That's why I didn't set up a barrier. How is it a respectable old man as yourself have such a deviant hobby? Elder Yuan's face twitched and shook his head before he sat at the table. I don't have a twisted hobby. I just came to inform you that you have to set off. Set off. The two looked stunned, with Joie Fan asking, set off where? I just became the sect leader, and now I'm going to leave? Elder Yuan smiled and revealed a jade slip. See for yourself. Congratulations, you too. After consulting with the elders and exalted of Double Dragon Manor, you have been chosen to enter Double Dragon Manor as disciples. This is a golden chance. In a couple of decades, when you come from Double Dragon Manor, things will be very different. You'll become a real power in Western lands. That will also be the time when Double Dragon Manor will become a real middle 3 sect. Elder Yuan's eyes flickered, and Joie Fan quirked an eyebrow after scanning the jade slip. The names of all chosen are released together? Sword God Sects Wen Tao, Xie Tianshang, Hellion Flames Yan Mo, Ultimate Clarity Sex Yi Lin, and Wu Qingqiu are all here. Ha ha ha, of course. Elder Yuan chuckled. You met all of them at the Double Dragon Gathering. After 20 years or so, you'll constantly be in touch. You'll now just get ready for it. No matter what grudges you formed in the Double Dragon Gathering, you'll be cultivating together now and smooth things over. This must be Double Dragon Manor's plan. Throwing the jade slip on the table, Joie Fan shook his head. That Yi Lin is savage, and you expect me to play nice with him for decades? Humph. I've heard about him, and he's almost as bad as you. So you don't have to avoid him. You two are practically made of the same cloth. Elder Yuan chuckled and stood up. Well, get ready for your journey. Shui Ruohua and the others are waiting for you. So soon. Joie Fan, started Elder Yuan, teased. I know you're newlyweds and are very lively, but this jade slip has been with me for a long time already. Other sects must have sent their disciples by now. You need to go now if you want to keep up. You can just get physical all you want in the Double Dragon Manor anyway. Ugh. Chu Ching Ching blushed and lowered her head. Joie Fan was stumped. I never knew this old coot was so lewd. He just keeps being blunt about our marital privilege. The two got ready and followed Elder Yuan outside the sect barrier. Demon scheming sects elders were already waiting to send them off with the Luo clan. Joie Fan's group came out and Venerable Qi and Bai stepped up, cupping their hands and bowing. Sect leader, don't worry. While sect leader is cultivating in the Double Dragon Manor, we and High Venerable will handle everything. What handling it with High Venerable? You're clearly making yourself the second Venerable. I haven't promoted you yet, and you guys are so thoughtful you kicked Venerable Sure off his chair to take his place. You guys sure are ambitious. No matter, not when you're on my side. It's not like I have any other candidate to be the second Venerable. Joie Fan smiled and patted their shoulder with a nod. I'll leave it to you. But if anything bad happens, You are to follow High Venerable's every order. Yes, sir. The two's hearts jumped. Zhuo Fan gave all the power to High Venerable, warning us to curb our greed. Knowing Zhuo and High Venerable were so close, the two were relieved. Elder Yuan spoke. Zhuo Fan, you're now the sect leader of Double Dragon Manor, not like other disciples. After you reach the Double Dragon Manor, you must greet the exalted as one. I figure Double Dragon Manor will treat you like one as well. You must not be like before, lacking mannerism. I got it, High Venerable. Zhuo Fan nodded. Elder Yuan smiled with a ripple. The sect barrier closed, and Zhuo Fan with the Luo clan set off, leaving the sect's elders to return to their matters. Only High Venerable remained for longer, muttering, I hope the exalted will notice the situation and understand our intention without making it too hard on us. High Venerable, the exalted were specifically after Zhuo Fan and the others when they sent that jade slip. What do we do? Did we offend the two exalted? Elder Shi of the Impermanence 5 appeared behind Elder Yuan's side and took out another jade slip. This is what the exalted sent to me alone, hoping to train Zhuo Fan, such a marvelous talent, and take him from us. Since they care for Zhuo Fan, how could we not as well? I had worked fast in getting Zhuo Fan's new status, so the leaders of the Western lands should not be as forceful in taking our sect leader. I hope that by acting like a sect leader before the exalted, they would understand my intent and let this go. If they wanted to take him, there's nothing I could do to stop them. Ha ha ha, don't worry, High Venerable. Exalted double dragons care about their reputation and won't be so forceful. How could they lead Western lands otherwise? Elder Shi consoled. Now that Zhuo Fan is our sect leader, no matter how much they want him, they can't do anything about it. High Venerable's move was brilliant. Elder Yuan smiled. Ha ha ha, you don't have to praise me. I had no other choice. Or when Zhuo Fan took the men to attack Mystical Heaven Sect, I just had to use my name as High Venerable, and it would have nulled the token he used to force them. It would have cut his uprising and his rise short. But in the end, Wuyue became a sacrifice to keep Zhuo Fan here. I had no choice but to make him step down. High Venerable shook his head, his eyes flashing. Everything had been going according to High Venerable's plan. It wasn't circumstances that forced him to get Xia Wuyue to step down. It was what he chose. I wonder what they would say if Xia Wuyue and Zhuo Fan knew this. I ended up making use of these shrewd youngsters, all for the future of the sect. Send a jade slip. The hare is out of the burrow. It's time to strike. Xia Wuyue stood on a far mountain overlooking everything. Seeing Elder Yuan's bent back as he returned to the sect, he sighed, Master, since you forsook me, you only have yourself to blame. Venerable sure mocked, sect leader. A great man must be ruthless. Since you want to get back your seat, then stop playing the victim. It's too fake. This was your idea after all. No one's forcing you to fight your master. Yes, no one forced me. It's me who's forcing myself. Xia Wuyue's eyes shone and gnashed his teeth with resolve. I need to get everything I had back, and I'll kill anyone that stands in my way. Chapter 771, Lung Wuchang's Worry. Chapter 771, Lung Wuchang's Worry. Proofreader, Papatonks. Brother Zhuo, we'll see separate here. When you have time, you must come to the Luo clan. Mom, Dad, I have to go as well. When you're in trouble and want to have a row, don't forget about young Sanzi. After leaving the demon scheming sect, the groups parted. Luo Yinhai took his clansmen back home, taking Yongning and Schwanger with him. Young Sanzi wanted to go back to the All-Beast Mountain Range. Zhuo Fan and his contingent of girls had to go to Double Dragon Manor, although Zhuo Fan disdained this. He had to do his duty as the new sect leader. For a long time following, demon scheming sect would depend on Double Dragon Manor. He had to give his respects, cupping his hands. Zhuo Fan put on a hard face. Thank you everyone for all you've done. We'll surely meet again. We will, Steward Zhuo. Li Jingtian, Qiu Yanhai, and the men from Luo clan replied in kind. then flew away with Luo Yinhai, and the lead Shuang'er and Yongning were filled with unwillingness. But then they saw Chu Qingqing and left as well, since Xue Fan was glued to Sister Qingqing. The girls had no chance whatsoever, just like Sister Qingqing said. All that mattered was that he was fine seeing them leave. Xue Fan's heart turned morose. He might have been a demonic emperor, but death was death, taking everything his past life meant with it, while now, as a mere mortal domain cultivator, he had so much. Xue Fan looked above and smiled. Chu Qingqing was touched as well, as she smiled in return at this moment. The two were in utter peace and content. A month later, Luo Yinhai took the experts back to Luo clan at Blackwind Mountain. Only while they had gone in full force, now they came back with heavy losses. A third of the men had died, and the rest were heavily wounded. Seeing this, the nervous higher-ups of the Luo alliance were shocked after they heard Luo Yinhai acted on his own as an elder of the alliance. Grandmother stood up. Luo clan head, what has happened? You took all the power of the Luo alliance, and now you came with such heavy casualties? Yeah, you have to give us an explanation. We have staked all our houses into Luo alliance. Even as an alliance leader, you can't just take everyone to a mortal battle. Xie Xiaofeng was also scolding. Long Yaifi was quite calm, but seeing his wet brow, it was clear he was nervous inside. Only after seeing the defeated army back did he relax. Let's all calm down. The Luo alliance has grown much these years, spreading through the dozens of small kingdoms around us. Our power is constantly growing, all under Luo clan's leadership. We can't just crucify Luo clan head for his first oversight. At the very least, it wasn't a crushing defeat. It's far better than how we ended up. Pavilion Lord Long, thank you. No wonder you're the first house we struck an alliance with. You have so much trust in us, ha ha ha. Luo Yinhai thanked him. Long Yaifi twirled his mustache. Luo clan head is too kind. But shouldn't sir explain why you went out with full force without giving us any word? The others also nodded, their eyes boring into Luo Yinhai. Sorry, it was all so sudden and had no time to consult. I went out because Luo Yinhai took a deep breath and began retelling all that happened. The others now understood, but even so, a snort came. Going so far for an old steward, putting Luo alliance in danger. Do you take all our house's interests as childish? When we, the Li clan, joined the Luo alliance, we didn't know it was so naive. The eyes of everyone focused on an arrogant man with a long beard, Clan head Li. Your clan might be known in the Wreathed Mountains kingdom, but you are far from having the right to run your mouth in Luo alliance. Long Yaifi glared. A backwater clan in a tiny nation sure is blind. What did you say? The man roared. Long Yaifi, the Luo alliance has been around for only 5 years. You may be much more qualified than me in it, but you're not that much better than us, new clans who joined. There's also our own force that joined Luo alliance's military. You're telling me we have no right to know when alliance leader uses them for his own selfish reasons? Long Yaifi spoke coldly. That is not what we're saying. But what alliance leader had done was rightfully so. Rightfully? For an old servant? Yes, for the previous steward. No matter how much it costs Luo alliance, it will all be worth it. Long Yaifi mocked. A clan from a tiny nation has no inkling of true talent. Xue Fan is worth everything we have. Did you know that the Luo alliance, including Tianyu Empire's entire power, was all taken by him? Without him, there wouldn't be the prestigious Luo alliance of today. Once I signed an alliance with him, and now I became the first elder of Luo alliance, overseeing trading with dozens of nations. And now that he needed our help, we'd be giving it, because paying him back is only right. Moreover, didn't you hear? He's the demon scheming sect leader. Later, with the support from a sect of the Western lands, the Luo alliance's expansion will only increase. Did you think about that? Ugh. The man's heart sank and grumbled, but then he said, this time subdued, but it's too dangerous. What if he failed? Wouldn't we lose everything? That's impossible. Long Yaifi mocked as he spoke with utter confidence. That kid is very shrewd. Since he does it, that means it's certain of success. I understand him too well, ha ha ha. The man fell silent at his laughter, however. Luo Yunhai shouted, looking solemn. Pavilion Lord Long, you might have come from a merchant's house, but forgive me for having to stop you there. Ugh. Luo Yunhai looked at him curiously. Luo clan follows loyalty and righteousness. Luo alliance will be no different. Every one of you that entered the Luo alliance is treated as my clansman. When you meet with danger, I'll brave anything to help you. Looking hard at everyone in the room, Luo Yunhai continued. Today I led Luo Alliance's forces to help Brother Zhua. Not for the chance of being paid back, but because he's my brother, the man who saved our clan and established Luo Alliance. Without him, there would be no us. Must we bicker over pennies, even with fellow clansmen? Even if he failed today, the Luo Alliance would still support him, despite the losses. This is the loyalty of the Luo Alliance. If any of you find themselves in conflict with our way, only looking at numbers, you're free to leave. I won't force you. Luo Yunhai flicked his sleeve as he left, leaving the elders looking at each other with shame. Is he the same young clan head Zhuo Fan brought up? That punk would fight tooth and nail for every coin. While the young clan head, ha 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 Zhuo Fan, you left so much room for the Luo clan to grow. The elders beamed, watching Luo Yunhai go. Nothing in this world can be better than meeting such a loyal boss. Back to Luo clan's hall. Luo Yunhai did not get to take his seat as Luo Yunchang rushed over yelling, Yunhai, did you take everyone out to fight? Do you know those alliance elders wanted to bring our entire clan down? Sister, it's fine, the damage isn't big. Luo Yunhai explained with a bright smile. Then laughter came from outside. Ha ha ha, young miss, for clan had to go all out regardless of consequences. He had to have done it for one man only. The two turned around to see an old man walking over. Unwanted contriva Lung Wucheng. Sir Lung, you mean Luo Yunchang recalled something, and Lung Wucheng nodded. Luo Yunchang turned to Luo Yunhai. Is what Sir Lung said true? Why you saw him? Luo Yunhai shrugged and sighed as he explained Luo Yunchang's mood sank. I see. He and Edifice Lord Chu. She then left with red eyes. Luo Yunhai wanted to comfort her, but Lung Wucheng stopped him. Clan head, young miss wants to be alone. Let her go. I, however, am more worried about Steward Zhua. Sir Lung, what do you mean? Luo Yunhai asked hastily. Lung Wucheng sighed. A woman is a hero's downfall. Steward Zhua and Edifice Lord Chu getting married is a good thing, but it also made him soft. Before Xia Wuiwei and sect leader Xian are removed, they would put him in the worst disaster, one that might even get him killed. I'm sure Steward Zhua is aware of this, but with his heart solely focused on Edifice Lord Chu, he would rather take the risk. Luo Yunhai's eyes widened and his brow shook. Chapter 772. Soul Harmony Expert Ambush. Chapter 772. Soul Harmony Expert Ambush. Proofreader Papatonks. Whoosh. For figures landed before a noisy town. Zhuo Fan, Chu Qingqing, Shui Ruhua, and Danner in a month, the four had made most of their journey to Double Dragon Manor. All we had to see so far was mostly wilderness. A bustling town like this is most welcome. We can finally rest. How about we stay for a day? Zhuo Fan suggested. The girls nodded with a smile. Danner threw a coy smile at Zhuo Fan. Brother Zhuo, it must have been so hard always staying in the wild. Now you'll have time to catch up with sister Qingqing tonight. Wretched girl. Say that again. Chu Qingqing blushed and glared at her. Zhuo Fan merely touched her arm and laughed. Ha ha ha. Danner, you understand us so well. Since you know my plan, we'll each mind our own. Why, you're just as bad as her. Chu Qingqing turned her red cheeks to glare at him. Zhuo Fan snickered, walking forward. Come, let's find an inn first. Seeing his quick step, the girls giggled. After getting married, Zhuo Fan is like another person. At least he's not as cold as ice. Shui Ruohua spoke. Chu Qingqing nodded. Looking at him so lively and carefree is all I wanted. Just that. Is this what he wanted? Regardless of what he wanted before, now he only wants you. Don't think about it too much. Shui Ruohua patted her shoulder. Danner came over giggling. Yeah, he's so much better now, no longer crude and rude. They say a woman changes a man. You're so amazing, Sister Qingqing. Chu Qingqing shook her head and sighed. But as she saw Zhuo Fan so happy, the weight on her heart slowly lifted. She wondered if her presence could wear down this man's ambition. But seeing him so cheerful now, what did it matter? Qingqing, let's rest here. Zhuo Fan stopped before a tavern and gave the girls a bright smile. Chu Qingqing sighed, feeling with joy as she nodded. The girls followed him in, taking a table. A waiter was right there to take their order. He soon came with the tea, as the other tables were noisy despite the clamor. Zhuo Fan looked at Chu Qingqing's delicate features and closed his eyes in peace. This is the life of the common people. It's so much easier than those days of fighting and killing to survive. Oh, Sister Qingqing, since we're going to Double Dragon Manor, are we from Mystical Heaven Sect or Demon Scheming Sect? It should be the Demon Scheming Sect, since we betrayed the Mystical Heaven Sect, and they must have cast us out. Danner cried out, and Shui Ruohua answered first with a bitter smile. Danner did not understand. But we're righteous cultivators. Won't we turn demonic like this? We've never trained in any demonic cultivation methods. Silly, we've stopped being righteous since we betrayed our sect. Even if we don't become demonic, we're still demonic cultivators. That's too random. You think? That's the righteous path, not allowing the slightest breach in rules, or you'll be judged. Danner and Shui Ruohua chattered on about what side they were on now. Zhuo Fan closed his eyes and sipped his tea with a smile, righteous and demonic. Who in this world can truly set them apart? What was righteous? What was demonic? Nothing more than biased notions people decided on themselves. Elder Yuan is right after all. Righteous and demonic are paths leading towards Tao. Haha. Only a fool will argue about making a distinction, sinking into this pit and straying from Tao. Fools, utter idiots. 9 serenities. Suddenly, Zhuo Fan furrowed his brow, hearing a voice calling out 9 serenities. He found that he couldn't even open his eyes and felt utterly powerless. He could only cry, "You know about the 9 serenities, Emperor. 9 serenities, we've been waiting for you. You must come back. You must attain Tao and return." Who's there? Zhuo Fan flashed his eyes open. His brow soaked as he looked around in panic. The girls looked at him in worry. Zhuo Fan, what's wrong? What's wrong? Zhuo Fan frowned, filled with doubt. All he felt was the strong beating of his heart filling his chest. Zhuo Fan felt it sink, as if a weight had been placed on it, wiping his brow. Chu Qingqing muttered, "Zhuo Fan, you were asleep. We've been calling you to wake up, but you've been out for an hour." "I've been asleep for an hour." Startled, Zhuo Fan was shocked. With his nature, there was no way he'd fall asleep so deeply. That's like handing my life on a silver platter. He then recalled the voice and felt as if it brought him to another place. This had to be why he didn't wake up. Danner gave him a hard look and grinned. "Brother Zhuo, you've been so tense lately. Frustrated, maybe?" Rolling his eyes, Zhuo Fan wanted to glue this last mouth shut. "As strong as I am alive, nothing can affect me. Moreover, this brat only knows how to learn bad words." Chu Qingqing was agape, glaring at her with a red face. Shui Ruohua gripped hard on her shoulder and spoke in anger. "Girl, who taught you to say that?" "Hold it." However, Zhuo Fan cut her cursing short, and he shouted. Danner lit up and teased, "You're really frustrated." "Shut it." Zhuo Fan glared at her and muttered, "Haven't you noticed that the town became quiet?" The girls looked around and found the entire place empty. Not even the owner or the waiter was here. Gone was the bustle from outside. People no longer walked the street. The eerie breeze, lifting the dust from the deserted street, gave it a dark tone. Chu Qingqing frowned and tensed. The town is suddenly empty, just like that time with Yen Mo. What Yen Mo again? The other girls cried. Zhuo Fan shook his head, his heart sinking. I fear this is worse. Yen, Mo struck at night, and we met by chance. But this is broad daylight when all vanished. This shows this was a dam trap. As he finished, a fierce gale blew, and a heavy pressure slammed into them crack. The inn began to disintegrate, with sawdust slowly falling to the floor. Zhuo Fan panicked and rushed the girls outside. Be careful! Rumble. A loud noise echoed, and the entire inn was razed to the ground. Kicking up a cloud of dust as it formed a tornado once the dust scattered, they saw 100 meters wide palm imprint into the ground where the inn was. Above it was an old man with silver hair, looking down with cold eyes. Humph! You're not the winner of Double Dragon Gathering for nothing. Most outstanding young demonic cultivator of the generation. You managed to sense my palm and dodged. Who are you? Why are you after me? Zhuo Fan pulled the girls to their feet, his heart racing. From that palm, he could tell the old man was stronger than an ethereal stage expert. He was in the soul harmony stage. This was an expert no lower 3 sect could send out. It made his heart sink, laying such a huge trap. There's no way he is alone. Does that mean there's no escape? Zhuo Fan clenched his fists as his mind raced to find a way out. Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan, we meet again. Only this time, a vile spawn like you won't escape again. A very familiar cawing was heard. Zhuo Fan sighed inside. He never thought that his biggest worry would come find him. Chapter 773, Life and Death. Chapter 773, Life and Death. Proofreader, Papatonks. Universal Righteous Sect, Zhao Dezhu. Zhuo Fan squinted at the loathsome face. The girls were stunned. They never thought the one to come after them would be the last of the Superior 3 sects. Universal Righteous Sect. No wonder they sent a soul harmony expert. A Superior 3 sect sure had the power. Strutting over, with dozens of strong ethereal stage experts behind, Zhao Dezhu sneered. Well, Zhuo Fan, you didn't see this one coming, did you? Yes, it was truly unexpected. Zhuo Fan was solemn. I know I stepped on many toes, but I never thought I'd be meeting you. Based on hatred, Mystical Heaven sect hates me the most, but I crushed it. The next would be Venerable, sure. But with High Venerable around, they can't move as they want to set an ambush for me. Third would be Heaven Trailing sect. But since they're the last middle 3 sect, I had my ways to cope with them. But out of all of many others, Universal Righteous Sect was the last I thought would come. Ha ha ha. Taking it logically, our setting off and paths were set. You and my sect are quite far too, hardly communicating. So, how did you know about our path so clearly? Either you had it prepared from the start to ambush me, or there's someone in the demon scheming sect feeding you info. But my falling out with the old coots is fairly recent. So, when did you make contact? Frowning, Zhuo Fan pondered. Then he chuckled. Right, the Double Dragon Gathering, Lucia, and Venerable, sure. You got in touch then. Zhao Dezhu's heart sank, looking hard at Zhuo Fan and laughing. Ha ha ha, they all say you're shrewd and a thorn in the side. Now I know for sure. If a demon like you isn't purged now, you'll soon cause havoc in the world. Today, my Universal Righteous Sect will vanquish demons for the good of humanity. Sigh, what a blunder. Face-palming, Zhuo Fan ignored Zhao Dezhu's bragging and sighed. I didn't much care about the demons' scheming sect at first. It was not the Luo clan who was built step by step anyway. So many problems were ignored. I thought I would go back to the Luo clan after the job was done and not get involved in its politics. But who knew that would come back to bite me? Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan pointed at the girls and spoke in a hard tone. Brother, you want to purge demons, that's fine. But leave the righteous cultivators out of this. Chu Qingqing tightened her hold on Zhuo Fan's hand as she shook her head. Shui, Ruohua, and Danner were firm in staying as well. But Zhuo Fan didn't look at them. Only at Zhao Dezhu. Humph. Being around a demon like you, no one is innocent. They're all taken in by the demonic way. They all must die. Whoosh! Zhao Dezhu raved, but was cut short as something came at him. He felt death looming and slanted his head in reflex whoosh. The attack passed his face and sent a cold shiver down his spine. Then he heard the cries from behind. 5 ethereal stage experts were headless. Falling to the ground, then their souls came out and shouted their anger at losing their bodies' divine eye of the void's second stage, void annihilation. Shuo Fan! Zhao Dezhu roared. He didn't think Shuo Fan would be so savage, striking without a signal and killing 5 of his brothers. He almost died as he turned around to Shuo Fan. He found Shuo Fan had grabbed Chu Qingqing's hand. As they all fled, it was blatant disregard. Zhao Dezhu was fuming mad. Men, start the array! Yes, sir. A ripple crossed the entire space and, like a net, sealed the town. At the edge of it, Zhuo Fan could see 500 ethereal stage experts sitting cross-legged and holding the barrier. Shui Hua's brow shook as she cried, 500 ethereal stage experts! Only someone like the Universal Righteous Sect can unleash such a force. This is like a lower 3 sect's entire power. Humph! That's why I said meeting the Universal Righteous Sect is the worst. Besides the sect guardians that never leave home, they could send any kind of force and could easily crush a lower 3 sect. We 4 are now facing such a destructive power. Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth, sweat gathering on his forehead. Danner was afraid. Brother Zhuo, what do we do? Don't worry, with me here, you'll be safe. Zhuo Fan revealed a smile as 2 golden halos appeared in his right eye. Divine Eye of the Void, second stage, void annihilation. A ripple shot out that slammed into the barrier and punched a hole in it. Blood spurted out as dozens of ethereal stage experts paled instantly from the heavy backlash. Zhuo Fan just then arrived before the barrier. He saw the hole in it and flicked his right hand, punching as it oozed a brutal red color boom. In that instant, Qilin Arm's power was unleashed, cracking the barrier. With a loud explosion, he made a gap in it and forced dozens of more ethereal stage experts to puke blood and collapse. The others maintaining the array were shaking like leaves, but the signs they made were firm. Shame it was of no use. Zhuo Fan had breached a path for them to escape run. Pulling Chu Qingqing, Zhuo Fan shouted. The 4 rushed through the gap and flew away. Zhao Dezhu stomped in anger. Curses! This prick has a skill to break arrays. The barrier is useless on him. You damn fools! He escaped, so what are you holding it up for? Get it down and chase after them. The men finally reacted and took down the barrier to give chase. Almost 500 ethereal stage experts went after only 4 people. Their mighty auras felt like that of a tsunami. Brother Zhuo, they're almost caught up. What do we do? Danner saw the savage energy behind and panicked. Zhuo Fan was solemn. Keep running and don't look back. Don't falter, or it's over. This is life or death. Yes. Danner shook in fright, but then recovered as she focused on flying. Chu Qingqing was also solemn, grabbing Danner with one hand and Zhuo Fan with the other as she rushed forward, but then she noticed one hand was empty. Zhuo Fan was not there. Chu Qingqing looked back to see Zhuo Fan stopping Zhuo Fan. Chu Qingqing cried out. Zhuo Fan shouted before she stopped. Don't look back and just run. Qingqing, Shui Ruohua looked back knowing what he planned with tears in her eyes. Chu Qingqing saw Zhuo Fan's determination and gnashed her teeth. She pulled Shui Ruohua and Danner as she flew faster. Shui Ruohua cried, Qingqing, are you really leaving him? He's going against 500 ethereal stage experts and a soul harmony expert. I don't want to, but I have to. Chu Qingqing's eyes were red. I'm too weak and will only burden him. It's better to leave first and escape from their chase. Then he can find his own way to escape. I believe that even in this dangerous situation, he can still come out alive. Chu Qingqing might have spoken to the girls or maybe to herself, to give her belief and to trust Zhuo Fan, but she knew deep inside that the Universal Righteous Sect's force could wipe out a lower 3 sect. Zhuo Fan's chances were slim at best. The girls could only pray for him. Chu Ching-chung held the other two with shaky hands as she flew. Biting her lip till it bled, Shui Rohua saw her pain and tightened her grip on Chu Ching-chung's hand. "Don't worry, he'll be fine." "Yeah, brother Zhuo always comes out alive. He got the strength and the wits." Danner consoled. Chu Ching-chung lowered her head as she kept flying. She really hoped that was true, but only she knew Zhuo Fan saying for them to not look back was the same as saying goodbye. Chapter 774, Paper Tiger. Chapter 774, Paper Tiger. Proofreader, Papatonks. When people separate, they still hope to see each other one last time. So, why did I tell her to not look back to see her again? Hovering and watching the girls vanish in the distance, Zhuo Fan's eyes grew hazy. Maybe I don't want her to see me crying, ha ha ha. Whoosh! A tremendous power came pressing down as a fierce gale fluttered his clothes. Zhao Dezhu came in front and cackled at his back. Ha ha ha, weren't you running? Even if you broke the array, you think you could escape my 500 ethereal stage experts? In the end, you just didn't want to die like that. Closing his eyes, Zhuo Fan forced the mist away from his eyes as he spat. Since I can't escape, fighting is better. You really went all out, using 500 against me. What other way is there when dealing with a freak like you? We had to make sure a demon like you would never escape. Zhao Dezhu mocked and glanced at 24 men on the side. Go after the girls. The rest of you deal with the demon. Yes, sir. The 24 cupped their hands and were about to go after them. But just as they got to Zhuo Fan, a boom echoed out with a flash of scarlet and mournful cries. The 24 experts were thrown back. Battered and bloody, they all looked startled to see Zhuo Fan had before him a scarlet dragon, hundreds of meters, big blocking their way. It opened, its bloody maw, looking at its prey with a savage glint in its eyes as it unleashed its mighty power. Zhao Dezhu snorted. Almighty Scarlet Dragon King? Humph, Zhuo Fan, you're taking your soul out so soon? You want to go all out? Those girls must be dear to you. Just some ignorant lasses, that's all. Zhuo Fan spoke heavily. Zhao Dezhu, you're only after my head. Well, here I am. Don't go dragging innocents into this. Zhao Dezhu smirked. Innocent? Ha ha ha. There's no such thing when they're involved with you. The universal righteous sect purges demons to the last one. Those girls will be snuffed out sooner or later. Boom! He did not finish as a fierce whirlwind lashed at them. The almighty Scarlet Dragon King's tail swipe completely blocked the way forward. Zhuo Fan turned around, his eyes filled with bloodlust. No one will get past me for as long as I breathe. Humph, show off. Zhao Dezhu mocked. You still want to stop my 500 experts? See how I cross your line. I won't kill you, but bring back the girls and rip them apart before your eyes. You'll see what end awaits all that hang around a demon like you, ha ha ha. Laughing, Zhao Dezhu flicked his hand again, and 30 ethereal stage experts revealed their souls to attack blades, spears, axes. All kinds of souls were put on display, and unleashing their raw power as they came upon Zhuo Fan, made the almighty Scarlet Dragon King swipe its tail at them. Boom. The loud explosions resounded and smoke rose. The power of those clashes made the rest of the ethereal stage experts to back away. When it cleared up, 20 universal righteous sect ethereal stage experts were now on the ground, bleeding from everywhere, while the last 10 were gasping and bleeding from their mouths, while before them was a wounded and battered scarlet dragon. But it stood in place, not making a single movement. The 30 ethereal stage experts' soul attack could still not budge. The huge dragon Zhuo Fan looked at them coldly with an ashen face. He quivered and spat blood, but he remained firm, like he was still fine, giving Zhao Dezhu a look of utter contempt. Monster! That was what their looks said, looking at Zhuo Fan in disbelief. One man taking 30 experts' attacks, yet still managing to heavily wound 20, while pushing back the rest, had already gone beyond the means of a simple human. His power was unheard of. He really was the best in double dragon gathering to take down all the superior 3 sects. When Zhao Dezhu came back, they wouldn't believe it. But now, Truth stared them right in the face. They all gasped and whispered from shock, and Zhao Dezhu was pissed off. He clenched his fists. He didn't come here to bolster his fame with new fans, but bury him for good. But now, these fools were oblivious of the situation. How can they admire this vile demon spawn? That's enough. Remember your place as righteous cultivators. Zhao Dezhu barked as he pointed at Zhao Dezhu. All of you attack! Get me his head for providence. Everyone startled awake and went for Zhuo Fan as they unleashed their power. Devoid of fear, Zhuo Fan grinned. Yes, come take my head. You must do it for providence. But it's also providence who dictates how many of you actually come out alive out of this. Look at the 20 heavily wounded. They were no less brave than you, yet what do they get? At the end of the day, only the survivors get to enjoy the victory. You'd better think this through. Do you want to be expendable or a winner? You decide. Ugh. They all faltered, coming to a halt. As they looked like each other, no one seemed to be so keen on being first anymore. Brother, you take the lead, I'll watch your back. And end up dead? You do it. Humph. With but a casual reminder from Zhuo Fan, their inner self-preservation was brought to the surface before they realized it. They had lost all the courage and panicked. Now, no matter how many they are, once their hearts were shaken, they became nothing more than a rabble. Their numbers meant nothing. Zhuo Fan grinned in disdain, seeing them being so petty. At the same time, he held his stomach as blood kept flowing from his mouth. He was wounded gravely as well. If they came at him again, just a dozen would have been enough to finish him, but by driving a wedge between them and bringing out their selfishness, the paper tiger that was now Zhuo Fan stalled these hundreds of experts from coming over. Anyone would laugh at such a scene. The great force of a sect was reduced to bickering fools, unable to get their hands on a wounded guy. Zhao Dezhu was stomping in anger, cursing, "You damn morons! What are you scared of? He's hanging by a thread. Attack. Get me his head, and I'll make sect leader commend you. Then why don't you go?" However, it had the opposite effect. One universal righteous sect disciple gave him a glare. Ugh. Startled, Zhao Dezhu stammered, "Me?" Zhuo Fan was filled with deceit and endless trickery. Even if wounded, no one really knew what scheme he was hiding. And you want me to go there? When he had toyed with Yi Lin to such an extent. If I go there, keeping my life will be a miracle. Why the hell would I go? I'm too young to die. What did I bring you all for then, if not to get him instead? However, seeing him scared, they were even more so. Now, no one was willing to attack thus. The 500 experts of Universal Righteous Sect stared like fools at a wounded guy. Zhao Dezhu was outraged, while Zhuo Fan grinned. He wasn't after escaping, though. While defeating 500 of them was impossible, he only hoped that, by fighting them, he bought the girls enough time. Zhuo Fan felt his insides burning as blood got caught in his chest and made it hard to breathe. Even so, he still stood there, pretending like he was fine. Clap. Someone clapped. Ha ha ha. Even though a wounded paper tiger, you still managed to shake the resolve of 500 Universal Righteous Sect experts. No wonder Zhao Dezhu said you'll be the righteous path's biggest calamity. Chapter 775. None shall pass. Chapter 775. None shall pass. Proofreader, Papatonks. Frowning, Zhuo Fan turned his head back as he felt his heart sinking not far from him. A thin, middle-aged man in white clothes came out from the trees. Seeing his mild smile but sharp eyes, Zhuo Fan knew this guy was anything but nice. What was more, he was also a soul harmony expert. Squinting, Zhuo Fan thought to himself, it seems Universal Righteous Sect's expert they got is ready to strike. Following his thought, 7 lights flashed as more soul harmony stage cultivators showed up beside him, including the silver-haired old man he saw in the town. Such a display of force left Zhuo Fan sighing. I could scare off 500 ethereal stage experts, but I have no chance against 8 soul harmony experts. Glancing at the 8, he began to calculate how to block them from going after Chu Qingqing at this time. Zhuo Fan had no care for his life at all. All he wanted now was to stall for as much as possible. Zhao Dezhu greets the elders. Seeing the 8 people, the pissed and stuck, Zhao Dezhu finally found his thick leg to hug. The other ethereal stage experts calmed down, as well ignoring them. The silver-haired old man frowned, staring at Zhuo Fan and at the powerful dragon soul. There's so many of you, yet you couldn't even get rid of a brat after so long? I thought that when I'd come, everything would be settled by now. But look at this mess. You have shamed the universal righteous sect. Everyone's heart chilled and they lowered their heads. But weren't there 4 of them? Why is there only 1? Where are the girls? At least show me their bodies. The silver-haired old man asked. Zhao Dezhu beamed with a deep bow. Elder, the 3 girls had run away. This brat blocked us here. We were about to take him down and then follow after them. What? 1 man holding back 500? The silver-haired old man was outraged. Humph, good, very good. You really are pathetic. There are hundreds of you, yet you can't even handle 4 people. Ending up stuck, dealing with just 1. Do you want me to step in, is that it? To pick on the weak? If word gets out, the universal righteous sect will have no name left. Ha ha ha. Zhao Dezhu, you petitioned the sect for so many people to help you. I thought you were dependable, but now I see you're nothing. You can't even take 4 people down with so many on your side? Would you like 500 more to get the job done? Zhao Dezhu jerked back after being harangued. He went red from shame and unwillingness. Elder, this isn't about numbers, but how devious this brat is. Using his devil's tongue to incite chaos, turning all these people into a rabble. It doesn't matter, even if they were 1,000, they'd still end up the same. The more they are, the more chaos it'll be. Moreover, it's not exactly all our fault. Didn't I ask you to cut their escape now? Zhao Dezhu gave the contented elder in white a careful look, but did not dare to speak up. The silver-haired old man followed his gaze and asked in a dark tone, Elder Bahi, we've discussed this before, that we would work together in cutting off every chance of escape. Why didn't you step in when the girls fled? Ha ha ha, how's it my fault? The elder chuckled and mocked. Elderine Chue, you were waiting together with me, yet always wanted to make a move and get them. So I figured that with a soul harmony expert and 500 ethereal stage experts, getting 4 brats still in the radiant stage would be a piece of cake. That's why my intervention would be pointless, just wandering around here on a leisure stroll. But whoever thought you'd let them freaking escape, Humph? And after I came back, I found it even more ridiculous how 500 experts were being stopped by 1 brat. Ha ha ha, that's the biggest joke I've heard. Elder In Chue, that happened with your help even. Does that mean that all these disciples would be wiped out if it weren't for you? I now have a new understanding of your strength. From elder to executive to disciple, not one is worth anything. Elder In Chue's face twitched and went red. Then he glared at Zhao Dezhu, wishing he could pulverize him, seeing how the 4 ran away and Zhao Dezhu led the 500 experts after them. He figured winning was in the bag. That was why he took his sweet time coming here rather than getting it over with fast. Scared they would talk behind his back that he picked on someone weaker than him. Even if it was for the sect, it still hurt to hear it, but who knew that Zhao Dezhu would be such a moron to not even complete this simple task, even getting the elders involved and shaming them with this shameless act. If not for this brat being sect leader's disciple and the future pillar of the sect, he would have died on the spot, gasping. Elder In Chue's eyes flashed. Zhao Dezhu did not dare to look at him, lowering his head. He cursed Zhuo Fan to high heavens. If not for this punk, I wouldn't have made a fool of myself before the elders. The other could see Elder In Chue was furious and smiled, giving him a way out. Elder In Chue, the girls shouldn't have gone far. It should be easy to catch up to them. Zhao Dezhu has his faults, but it won't matter. You're an important man and should be letting him remember this mistake. After we settle this, we'll handle it back at the sect. With his rear kissed, Elder In Chue nodded. The 8 looked at each other, then passed Zhuo Fan together, totally ignoring him. Zhao Dezhu will leave this to you. If you still can't do it with so many men, Humph. Elder In Chue warned. Zhao Dezhu bobbed his head. Elder Bai He smiled. Children, Don't let his words confuse you. If you manage to kill him, you'll all earn merit. If you let him escape, you'll all die." "Yes, sir." Everyone shouted. An elder's order was different from Zhao Deju's, a disciple. He easily stirred these ethereal stage experts. Fighting spirit, the elders nodded, then passed Zhuo Fan. Without minding him, they didn't feel quite right by killing him themselves. They still had their name as righteous cultivators to keep. It was better to let them settle it. As for the girls, they had good use for them. Those constitutions should not go to waste. Boom! However, they did not get far, as an incoming explosion of power sent their clothes fluttering from almighty Scarlet Dragon King's tail. "I told you, as long as I'm here, none shall pass me." Zhuo Fan spoke coldly. The 8 elders looked at him with anger and shock because they did not care about an ethereal stage expert. At all, Zhao Deju mocked. "Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan, you ignorant fool. You actually want to try and stop the 8 elders? Do you know the difference between soul harmony stage and ethereal stage? Yeah, we don't want to waste time on a pup. We have our status to maintain. So don't push it." "Elder," he sneered. "And besides, you're not worthy." Zhuo Fan had a sinister grin. "Oh, since you don't want to attack, then just sit there, all right?" The 8 elders' faces fell. Elder Yin Chue gave Zhuo Fan a long look and took a deep breath. "Fine. Since this evil spawn wants to die at Soul Harmony Expert's hand, then I'll oblige you." Elder Yin Chue suddenly shook, and an incredible power came from him. The sudden surge forced the ethereal stage experts to falter back from the 100-meter huge hammer forming behind the elder. "Humph! My soul is a tool soul, heaven-smashing hammer. Its might is unprecedented." "Hum!" The huge hammer then combined with his body, making his body swell and releasing silver light. The mere clasping of his fist sent powerful ripples after achieving harmony. "My body is like a diamond. My punch crushes mountains. Even your heaven dragon soul will be turned to dust." With a creepy glint in his eyes, Elder Yin Chue grinned. "If you had fought these ethereal stage experts, you might have lived longer. But since you want to die, humph, then be my guest." Elder Yin Chue shot straight for Zhuo Fan. The relentless fist smashed into his chest, brutal and savage. Chapter 776, Demon Sword's Power. Chapter 776, Demon Sword's Power. Proofreader, Papatonks. "Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan, you've angered our soul harmony stage elders. You must really want to die." Zhao Deju pointed at Zhuo Fan's cold face and laughed at his suicidal act. Elder, but he shook his head in mockery. "We're not picking on the weak this time. It's the weak who taunts us." Yeah, he must think that dying at a soul harmony expert's hand would be so much more honorable. Another elder shook his head, looking with contempt. "There's plenty of idiots like him around. As if the more incredible the death, the better the glory, ha ha ha. But that doesn't mean you should die at some underling's hand. After all, even experts sometimes can't help but squash a few bugs." Everyone nodded and snickered. The hundreds of ethereal stage experts were even excited. They were going to see their glorious elders attack. Who? The wind brought terrible power at Zhuo Fan, pushing him down and making him pant and shake. Despite that, he stood firm, his back straight, as he took almighty Scarlet Dragon King back into himself. Elder Yin Chue raised an eyebrow, writing it off as fear and laughing at Zhuo Fan for it. "You took your soul back? You think it'll save you? I am a soul harmony expert. This fist will crush your body and pulverize your soul. You can't escape." "Ha ha ha, you're wrong about that. I took it back not out of fear, but to reduce the defensive range." Zhuo Fan smirked. Elder Yin Chue had to laugh harder at that. "Defensive range? Ha ha ha, do you really think you can block my punch? Even with a 9th grade spiritual armor, you'd still die." Elder Yin Chue put more speed into his strike, arriving at Zhuo Fan in an instant. The terrible power was so great it made Zhuo Fan's face split. Bleeding all over his soul was restless. As if afraid of this might, of this punch, Zhao Deju was having the time of his life. In the double dragon gathering, his name became nothing and now it became nothing in front of the elders. But the freak Zhuofan would finally die. The other ethereal stage experts were shouting in excitement. The 7 other elders shook their heads. With how deep the gap is, this fight is boring. It was like a thug looming on a 3-year-old just when everyone thought this would be over. Zhuofan's fate changed. A bloody glow with traces of black came in contact with Elder Yin Chue. The elder's punch was just about to hit Zhuofan, but then it split in two, whistling right by Zhuofan's ears as traces of blood landed on his brow. Elder Yin Chue was dumbstruck. But then a chuckle grated in his ears. Ha ha ha, did you really think I would lower the defensive range just to block your attack? Zhuofan showed a sinister smile, his eyes flashing coldly. I was only getting ready to hack you. Elder Yin Chue shook at a loss, but then he quickly shivered. He looked down to look at himself. He was bisected in 2 halves, with blood dripping from his innards. Because he had attacked, the halves simply went past Zhuofan now. He looked at Zhuofan in the eye. He had no determination to try and take them down with him. He was actually ready to kill a soul harmony expert, though the elder didn't understand how it came to dying like this. Elder Yin Chue wanted to at least know what happened before dying, but time waited for no one. As he turned around, his eyes went blank and he splattered to the ground, dying with a grievance. The shock was so great everyone was in denial of what they saw. The ethereal stage experts and the elders all gasped watching the bloody halves. That's a soul harmony expert. How can he die just like that? Clang! A sword having a bloody glow and black veins on it circled the air and flew in Zhuofan's hand with a cheerful hum, like it was excited of the kill it just took. The hungry hum echoed and made the rest shiver from fear. That sword. Elder by he and the 6 elders shared a glance. This was supposed to be a simple task now that the 8 of them came to deal with some brats. They came just to make sure all went well, but not that they would actually intervene. But none could have fathomed that they would actually lose a soul harmony expert just like that at the hands of a weapon. The hearts of the other elders were tense, no longer looking down on the kid. Zhao Dezhu was scared to death and stumbled backward. No, that can't be. How did you kill a soul harmony stage elder? Humph! I told you, none shall take 1 step beyond me. Ignoring him, Zhuofan flicked the sword and smiled coldly. He was like a supreme monarch bearing down his mighty order. The elders did not care about him before, but they would not be so hasty this time around. That weird sword would sure promise them death otherwise. What the hell is that thing? Elder by he squinted as sweat trickled down. The others were the same. Stepping back from that sword in an instant, the 2 sides were in a deadlock. The ethereal stage experts had a morale boost with the 8 elders, about to attack even. But then one of them had to die and shake the elders' resolve, making them useless. Their morale hit rock bottom. Looking at Zhuofan with dread. If their elders feared him, how couldn't they? Zhuofan grinned and nodded at the sword. 6th grade sacred weapon, Atlas sword. He was lacking in using the sacred weapon's full power, but it was sharp enough to kill a soul harmony expert. Thanks to this trinket, he could now stall for longer and make sure Chu Qingqing got away Zhuofan's side. Yet he was showing a pleased smile. This might be the last time he could help Qingqing. Use your weapons. Elder by he shouted, then he charged for Zhuofan while a broadsword appeared in his hands. 9th grade spiritual weapon, Heaven Slasher. Moon-cutting river. The other 6 elders lit up. Since the demon sword was amazing, then they'd use spiritual weapons. Even if they lacked, they could press on with their soul harmony stage power, and so they all took out their spiritual weapons and came at Zhuofan squinting. Zhuofan knew he could not let them circle him, so his right eye flashed golden once and was gone from their sight. Divine Eye of the Void's 1st stage shift. Whoosh! Zhuofan's vanishing act had the spiritual weapon strike air. The next second he was behind Elder by he, slashing Elder by his heart shook and he dodged that sharp edge. With a flick of his hand, the Heaven Slasher carried out his entire power as it hacked at Zhuofan. Bam! A loud sound echoed as the blade and sword collided. Zhuofan shook from the soul harmony stage power seeping into his body. He spat blood and fell back, however. Elder by his heaven slasher fell apart, pieces crumbling from it. A 9th grade spiritual weapon was ruined, just like that. This can't be. Elder by he widened his eyes in shock. What kind of weapon is that? How can a radiant stage kid destroy a 9th grade spiritual weapon in the hands of a soul harmony expert? The other's eyelids quivered, thoroughly stumped. Chapter 777, Never Surrender. Chapter 777, Never Surrender. Proofreader, Papatonks. While spiritual weapons had grades, that didn't mean anyone could use them. Their power was also different. A 3rd grade spiritual weapon, wielded by a soul harmony expert, was much stronger than a radiant stage expert holding a 9th grade spiritual weapon, but that did not seem to be the case, since even with the cultivation gap, a soul harmony stage expert was using spiritual weapons against a radiant stage expert. If not for Zhuofan's sword being so outrageous, they would not have resorted to such a shameless act as using spiritual weapons to pick on the weak. Yet, even so, their spiritual weapons were as useful as toothpicks. It only helped taking one blow. This had them shaken. Just what was that thing Zhuofan was holding for even 9th grade spiritual weapons to be solely lacking? They began to take this fight more seriously in terms of strength. Zhuofan was clearly weaker, as weak as a lamb in fact. But that sword turned the lamb into a wolf with a ravenous appetite. These almighty elders of the universal righteous sect were scared. Elder, by he glared with such fury at Zhao Dezhu. What the hell is wrong with you? How could you miss telling us he has such a godly weapon? Elder by he, I didn't know. Zhao Dezhu felt wronged, then stared daggers at Zhuofan. Just how much is he hiding? Why didn't he take it out when he fought Yilin? How was he supposed to know this sword, no matter how incredible, had to be kept hidden? He could not just flaunt it and end up dead as a result, just like these elders. While clueless of being Western land's guardian treasure, they all felt greed to possess such a mighty bauble if it was so awesome in Zhuofan's hand. Then what about in a soul harmony experts? They all started attacking Zhuofan. Their spiritual weapons fell down like rain. At the same time, they also unleashed techniques to cover all bases. Zhuofan could defend against one attack, but not both. And when he died, they could finally steal that sword. Zhuofan squinted. He saw through them and grinned. His right eye flashed golden once more. Divine Eye of the Void's first stage shift. Zhuofan vanished and reappeared before Elder by he, who didn't have a spiritual weapon, but he was stunned and dodged as he cursed, for crying out loud. Stop coming at me. You already ruined my spiritual weapon, and now you come to finish the job? If you have the nerve, leave the sword and fight me like a man. Elder by he fled with Zhuofan on his tail. The surrounding ethereal stage experts were dumbstruck. A radiant stage cultivator was chasing a soul harmony stage 1. Talk about baffling. This was unheard of. Elder by his heart collapsed in hatred, but that was it. A soul harmony stage's soul and body combination was tough, but was no different from paper before that sword. How humiliating, being chased around before such a crowd by a damn brat. Though it was much better than getting killed, so he ran with Zhuofan behind him. The only thing missing was a cry for help. Elder by he, here I come to help you. Another elder shouted and lifted his spear as he charged Zhuofan at the same time. He also combined his soul with his body, while punching at Zhuofan. This was using 2 different attacks. Zhuofan had no way of keeping the pursuit of his quarry. As for shifting again, Zhuofan frowned as the other elders were now on guard at his every move. No matter how he tried to ambush them again, they were ready. He could only fight with a creepy glint in his eyes. Zhuofan flicked his sword and threw it at the spear. Then his arm flashed red. As he punched the incoming attack, the elder was overjoyed. Ha ha ha, no matter how strong you are, my fist is backed by my soul. You can't escape. Ha ha ha, I know that. Zhuofan grinned and his eye flashed golden. So I'm smashing your spiritual weapon. The other was stunned to see that he and the Atlas sword switched places. Bam. Zhuofan's punch struck the spear, making him fly back and cough blood. while the elder's fist was now faced a demonic sword, sending terror through his bones. Whoosh! With a mournful cry, another soul harmony stage elder met his demise. His body fell in a pool of blood, and the sword came back to Juofan's hand. Panting, Juofan wiped his bloody mouth and showed a crazed grin. That's two. SS. The others were gasping in fright. The 6 elders looked at Juofan like he was a monster, their fists shaking in just a short time. 2 elders were gone. This kid's tricks are twisted. Everyone attack. Elder, by he gnashed his teeth. The punk is using every gap in our attacks to pick us one by one. With his sword and those creepy skills, even we might end up dead by his blade. The others shook and nodded after a short moment. It looks like we'll have to lower ourselves. The kid is worthy of us doing this. Elder, by he looked around, then set his eyes on Zhao Dezhu. Take 100 men and go after the girls. The rest of you attack the vials spawn together. Yes, sir. They all shouted, even Zhao Dezhu. Zhao Dezhu, I hope you'll be alive when I come back with those girls, ha ha ha. Zhao Dezhu then took his men to pass Juofan Boom. However, an explosion came as a huge scarlet dragon once again appeared before them. Juofan spoke, deadly. I told you none shall. Bam! He did not finish. As his body shook and coughed blood, he saw that a soul harmony stage elder appeared before the dragon and punched it. Almighty Scarlet Dragon King's hard scales crumbled to pieces as it howled. Ha ha ha! The dragon soul is finally out. Elder, but he gave a devious smile. You took your soul back to have an easier time with Elder Yin Chue and not expose your weakness. However, you want to stop them, so you have to take it out again, exposing it before a soul harmony expert. It seems to me those girls are very important to you, more than your life. Juofan's eyes shook. Even with the blood flowing from his mouth and his woozy body, he still stood his ground. Elder, by his side, there's no point. With another punch, your dragon soul will crumble. Your sword is amazing, but it can't stop everything. Ha ha ha, yes, you have a choice now. Give up your life, or let us pass and get the girls. Zhao Dezhu laughed, though I hope you'll pick the latter. If you don't take your soul back, the next punch will kill you and won't be able to save those girls. But if you take it back, won't you see the girls again soon? Ha ha ha, well, what will you choose? Zhao Dezhu was having a kick out of Juofan's plight, mocking him for it. Juofan had a vile grin, his eyes still firm. I told you none shall pass me. Die then. Zhao Dezhu shouted, then he turned to the elder before the dragon. Elder, if you would. The man showed a bloodthirsty glint and punched into the dragon's back. Just then, what shocked everyone was that when the punch landed, everything was quiet then. With a cry, the dragon turned pitch black, oozing black energy as it engulfed him. Chapter 778, Chopping Galore. Chapter 778, Chopping Galore. Proofreader, Papatonks. What? The soul changed. The elder who punched the black dragon gasped and could not get away from it. Zhao Dezhu cried out. That's Juofan's dragon soul variant. Heaven-devouring demonic dragon king. Correct. Juofan snickered, then spewed blood. Heaven-devouring demonic dragon king can take on any power for itself. Even if a soul harmony expert punched, it would lose most of its power. You want to smash me? Humph, think again. Juofan's eyes flashed with bloodlust, and his right eye shone golden. As the demonic sword vanished again, it came back from the front of the elder. The elder was scared to death and panicked. But nothing he did could get his fist out of the heaven-devouring demonic dragon king's black energy in the end. Another wail adorned the sky as the demonic blade robbed him of his life by cutting him in 2. Blood fell down like rain as the creepy demonic sword returned to Juofan's hands. It shone a blood-red light that reflected in the other's eyes, moreover. Trapped in heaven, devouring demonic dragon king. You won't get out so easily, ha ha ha. Juofan's laughter pierced their ears, making everyone shiver. The remaining 5 elders felt fear now. With sweat gathering on their brows, that was the 3rd one. If they didn't see it, they wouldn't have believed it. A great soul harmony expert actually died at the hands of a kid not yet in the ethereal stage. And not just one the blade was just too strange and savage. Not even a soul harmony expert with his soul and body united could handle it. But what else did the kid have beside the sword? Nothing else he used could threaten them. Even so, they understood fully that sword's power and were on high alert. Even as they all were cautious to dodge its edge, they still fell one by one. This was no longer an issue with the sword, but with Zhuofan. He was a threat to everyone. The tragic deaths of 3 of them had the elders admit that they were up against a dangerous enemy. It wasn't just the sword, but the wielder as well. Elder by he squinted and shouted, "Everyone attack! No matter what it costs. We have to take the vile spawn's head. We'll go after the girls after we have his corpse. Elder by his sword is too strong. Our losses will be heavy." One elder spoke. Shaken elder by he shook his head and gnashed his teeth. "We don't have a choice. The kid is too weird. If we try anything else, we won't win. The best method is to drown him with numbers, to use superior strength on the weak. When he's so busy fending us all off, he'll die for sure." But no buts. Elder by he cut him off with a flick of his hand. "We'll only leave 100 ethereal stage experts anyway. The universal righteous sect can take it." Elder by he led the charge, but did not dare to face Zhuofan head-on, going for the dragon's soul instead. Those with spiritual weapons attack his body. The rest go for his soul. "Yes, sir." Seeing an elder beginning the assault, the rest shouted and took out their souls. The remaining 4 elders saw this and nodded. They gripped their spiritual weapons and went for Zhuofan. As they unleashed their mighty power, it was like 2 mountains came crumbling down. One went for Zhuofan, and the other for the dragon's soul. No matter which struck home, he would die either way. However, he could not dodge because behind him were the girls. "Ha ha ha, Zhuofan, you want to use yourself to shield the girls? Then I'll walk all over your corpse and grab them." Zhao Dezhu followed by he closely as he shouted, "See how in 15 minutes you'll end up dead and ruined. And with your fall, those girls will be next. All you've done would be for nothing. You can't save anyone." Zhuofan's brow shook. He looked rather frail, but his eyes held a vague glint. "Oh, really? Thanks for the reminder. It seems I'll survive a while longer at least." Showing a devilish smile, Zhuofan made a sign soul variant, vaulting Dragon King. Whoosh! The demonic dragon withdrew its black energy, and azure flames began to cover its body. Elder by he jerked, but before he could react, the azure dragon opened its maw to unleash a torrent of azure flame at the hundreds of souls around. Ack! Wails and cries were heard all around as the wave of souls had not even reached the dragon's soul, and they were burning in an azure inferno. Their bodies jerked and twitched from pain. The unlucky ones, unable to withdraw, had been burned down to nothing in a blink. Dozens of ethereal stage experts were gone from this world. Everyone gasped from shock. Even Zhao Dezhu didn't think that the azure dragon that had been passive in Yi Lin's fight would unleash such power. It killed so many and heavily wounded 100. How could any of them know the chaos azure flame might be a gentle flame, weaker in a fight than a fierce flame, like decimating golden flame? It still came from a sacred beast. It was only weaker in relation to that golden dragon. If you thought azure dragon was weak because of that, then what happened now was only natural. Elder by he glared at Zhao Dezhu, as if blaming him. Why couldn't you report his strength sooner? How was Zhao Dezhu to know? He was only watching the fight, not participating in it. He only knew that almighty Scarlet Dragon King was tough, while the others were always on defense. Zhao Dezhu felt like crying now. He knew just how bitter Yi Lin and Zhuofan's fight was. Their fight was beyond their stage, something the audience could not comprehend. The brat still had some more damn skills? Tell me everything you know already. Elder, but he gnashed his teeth and barked. Zhao Dezhu shook his head, his eyes hazy. There shouldn't be any great moves left. Although he has another variant, a purple dragon, but that is used for ambushes and it's weak. Rumble. As if on cue, Purple lightning flashed in waves and crossed the inferno to strike at the hundreds of souls. Dozens of more souls fell right then, and dozens more withdrew with heavy wounds. Is this what you mean by a weak variant? Elder, by his face twitched and wanted to slap the kid into the hereafter. Zhao Dezhu lowered his head, puzzled on the inside. Why did Zhuo Fan look so weak when fighting Yilin in the Double Dragon gathering? How is he so strong now? Never mind. I won't ask you who knows nothing. I'll break his dragon's soul myself. Elder, by he flicked his sleeve enraged, shooting for the dragon's soul with the power of soul harmony stage. He easily broke the purple lightning and the azure inferno. Elder, by he, the purple dragon variant, has the weakest defense. I won't believe a word you say. Now get lost. Zhao Dezhu's reminder got a reprimand from Elder by he, making him jerk back and stay silent to stew in anger. I was only trying to help. It's your fault if you die. At the same time, in front of Zhuo Fan, for elders wielding spiritual weapons came to take his life with their superior cultivation, Zhuo Fan clashed with them as he wielded the demonic sword Elder. But he arrived at the purple dragon and raised his fists but did not strike, looking instead at Zhuo Fan. He saw Zhuo Fan's skill back then. That shift was insanely powerful now that he faced for experts at full power. If he went head-on, he would die even if the demonic sword ruined the spiritual weapons, as the power would transfer to him and kill him on the spot. But if he shifted away, that would be the best moment for Bai He to kill his soul and end this. He was afraid that he would get stuck like the other elder and end up dead to make sure this didn't happen. Bai He stayed his hand, not wanting to give his enemy an opening to exploit even if Zhuo Fan got to him. He could instantly flee and draw him out while the four elders would focus on the dragon's soul. So no matter the choice, Zhuo Fan would die for sure. Details made a plan come together. An elder, by he was a sharp man. That was why he chose to stay his hand, to see what Zhuo Fan would choose. Chapter 779, Chaotic Fight. Chapter 779, Chaotic Fight. Proofreader, Papatonks. Bam. Zhuo Fan's sword clashed with the four elders' spiritual weapons, turning them to pieces. Zhuo Fan had to cough blood from that encounter, their power wreaking havoc in his body. Elder, but he laughed. This kid doesn't have the strength to move like that again? Of the three choices, he picked the quickest to die. Did he give up resisting? This is much better. His insides must be mush right about now and can't use the sword again. Next, I'll just smash his dragon soul to pieces. Overjoyed, Elder, by his eyes shone and punched, sending all his power forward. The purple lightning struck the attack, but it did nothing to stop it. Boom! With a mighty sound, Elder, by he grinned at the shaking dragon. This time you're going to fall, heaven dragon soul. Whoosh! Black energy covered the dragon, switching from purple lighting as it roared. Ha ha ha, I see it now. At the critical moment, you'll change to a demonic dragon to disperse my power? Elder, by he mocked. So what? Even what remains will be enough to wound you. The only thing great about this dragon soul is that it can change forms and only drag out its death. But I will still kill you either way. Elder, by he was about to strike again, but he found that he couldn't. His fist was stuck, just like that elder sneering. Elder, by his body shook and unleashed more power to scatter the black energy as he pulled out his fist. Humph! Zhuo Fan, your body is already useless and can't use that instant movement. Your dragon can only stall for a couple of moments. Fighting your body might be a threat to us, but your soul alone can't be saved. Die! Elder, by he. However, a cry came from the four elders. Looking over, he asked, What? Oh, our spiritual weapons aren't ruined. An elder held his spiritual weapon in shock as he shouted, but he jerked and looked careful to see that they were holding their weapons, while Zhuo Fan was coughing blood in front of them. He was wobbling, yet the demonic sword had the same strong vibe. What just happened? If the four elders' spiritual weapons were not ruined, that meant they did not clash with the demonic sword. But why would Zhuo Fan get himself killed by doing this? To leave his soul alone. Elder, by he was perplexed, however. A sudden wave of bloodlust came from behind, startled, but he panicked and tried to dodge, only to find that his hand was still stuck in the black dragon. though it would only last for a couple of moments, more than enough to kill him. As blood spurted, Elder Bahi's body was severed. IV been had. Elder Bahi's lips trembled, forcing himself to turn around, to see Zhuo Fan's cold eyes and bloody mouth. What happened? Cough. Zhuo Fan kept coughing, though his face was flat. No matter how cautious you are the moment you win, you'll feel invincible. I only gave you that moment, that's all. Elder Bai, looked at Zhuo Fan hovering in the air, then at the Zhuo Fan behind him with hazy eyes. Why are there two of him? Ha ha ha, ignorance is crime. You have no way of knowing all I'm capable of. Grinning, Zhuo Fan's right eye flashed in 3 golden halos. Divine Eye of the Void's 3rd stage, Mirage World. Whoosh! The one holding the demonic sword kept spewing blood, yet vanished the next second, leaving only the Zhuo Fan behind Baihe, grinning at the 4 remaining elders' illusion. Everyone understood that even if Zhuo Fan popped behind Elder Baihe, he still couldn't kill him even with the dragon soul holding him. He had to lure him first, but with the elder seeing his trick once, was he going to fall for it as well? So Zhuo Fan set up an illusion, letting Baihe think he faced them head-on, and letting him attack the soul and piece the illusion was easy to break, as the 4 elders found their spiritual weapons didn't crumble when meeting with the demonic sword, but Elder Baihe, who was not around, only saw that the plan worked and couldn't help but strike as well. At that moment, Zhuo Fan capitalized on the elder's mistake. Elder Baihe looked at the sky as his eyes became empty and he died. The 2 halves of his body fell to the ground, his eyes forever open in regret. Who'd have thought a great soul harmony expert would die with such regret? That's 4. Shaken to the core, the 4 remaining elders looked at Zhuo Fan panting heavily and spewing blood. Yet all they felt was fear as they backed away. He wasn't even in the ethereal stage, also wounded and surrounded, yet still killed a soul harmony expert. The first time was a miracle, the second was a mishap, but the third one had them all attacking to prevent any more from dying. Then the 4th kill came and proved he had the power. Still the 4 elders felt their hearts sinking looking into those savage eyes. Who the hell is this guy? In the end, they were hardened cultivators of many years. Soon recovering their calm after a bit of shock, they were soul harmony experts. How could a mere radiant stage prick kill 4 of them? Attack! All of you attack. No plans. Just kill the damn kid no matter the cost. Finally, as 4 of them died, the elders went mad as they shouted, going for Zhuo Fan head-on. The remaining ethereal stage experts followed them. Zhao Dezhu was even in front, his eyes bloodshot. He had asked for this fight from the sect. Now 4 elders lay dead, and if he didn't get his head, he could never get back to the sect. Zhuo Fan looked at the flood of people charging over and tightened his grip on the demonic sword. He took a deep breath and gnashed his teeth as he charged as well with his weary body. This had never happened before in the history of time. Hundreds of experts ganged up on a lower cultivator. This was a bloody and thunderous chaotic battle. If the universal righteous sect had gone all out from the start, their losses wouldn't have been so great. But in this chaos, the death toll only rose. The ethereal stage experts unleashed their souls on Zhuo Fan without regard for their safety. Zhuo Fan's azure dragon spewed fire that killed many. The purple dragon sent purple lightning that singed even more, but the tide could not be stopped. Slamming into the dragon soul, Zhuo Fan spat blood again, his eyes going dark and about to fall unconscious. But he had someone to protect. He bit his tongue to wake up the purple dragon, shifted into the demonic dragon, to absorb as much as possible of those soul attacks. Then it switched to almighty Scarlet Dragon King, and with a lash of the whip, destroying dozens of more souls. This was how the dragon's soul kept changing form to deal with the storm of souls coming to rob his life. He instead robbed their lives, bodies falling from the sky after giving out one last mournful cry under the constant attacks. The dragon's soul was battered as well. Howling constantly, Zhuo Fan endured the pain his soul was suffering and charged head-on with the demonic sword in hand, his eyes bloodshot. Everywhere he went, Someone would fall to pieces, another pile of bodies started hitting the ground. The 4 elders held their weapons and charged at his body. Zhuo Fan wielded the demonic sword and clashed with them 100 times, yet no winner was revealed. The demonic sword forced the elders to keep retreating after each attack. Its savage blade reaped dozens of ethereal stage experts with every swing. No one could approach their battle, as each fought to gain the advantage. This had long stopped being a trap, becoming a bitter war. 500 people against 1 man. It was utter chaos. Chapter 780. You're not worthy. Chapter 780. You're not worthy. Proofreader, Papatonks. Where am I? The heavy night descended as a bloody man crawled out of the grass. The stench of blood around him made him cough. Sometimes even vomit. The clear moon sent her soft rays, shining its light on this weary man's face-palming. Zhao Dezhu pondered before getting up. He was ordered by his sect to kill the demon Zhuo Fan, but he was just too strong, unable to get him even with superior numbers. That last tail swipe from the almighty Scarlet Dragon King killed so many, and since he was at the front, even if he survived it. Only now did he wake up from the heavy blow. He was in the dark about whether that Zhuo Fan was finished or not. Zhao Dezhu looked at the moon above and sighed. It's already dark. He has to have fallen by now. But how many died? As if on cue, the world seemed to answer him as the moon shone on the limbs and bodies laying in bloody mud where he was right now. Was right in the middle of a river of blood. That many? Zhao Dezhu looked around in shock at the Hell's Cape and gruesome display, at the limbs without a body to match. Zhao Dezhu shook and muttered, What now? What now? I can't take the blame for these losses. Boom! However, his musing to weasel out were put on hold at the sound of that explosion, and the incoming gale whipping his face startled. Zhao Dezhu rushed forward, flying towards a fire in the sky. The Universal Righteous Sect still had 100 ethereal stage experts, gasping for breath and staring at their enemy with fear and shock. But what was more pronounced were the feelings of hatred and terror. In front of them stood 3 elders in dirty and ripped clothes, the spiritual weapons in their hands shaking. And no way! He's still alive? Zhao Dezhu's heart sank and flew over, squeezing between the men and getting in front. But the scene he saw left him shell-shocked. Before them was the same dragon. Although wretched and with broken scales, about to breathe its last, it still swiped its tail as it fought the crowd with utter determination. Just like Zhuo Fan, it was going to fight to the last breath. In front of it stood a man covered in blood, holding a demonic sword as blood dripped from his face. His eyes were welcoming death. His face was flat. The tens of ghastly wounds on his body kept spewing out blood. Some of the wounds even had dried blood on them. Despite all the pain and damage, he still stood. He stared at the men before him with a dead and firm look. An elder shifted his leg and shot forth. The sword pierced forward, but then he jerked back even faster, frowning. The elder looked at the others with fury. Is Zhuo Fan even human? We've ruined his body to this degree. His innards are crushed, but yet he still killed an elder. He had killed 400 ethereal stage experts and took down 5 soul harmony elders as well. He had paid for it, getting so many wounds on his body and soul. I just can't believe he's alive, even after all that. Will he die only when his soul is ripped apart? This kid is too tough. Is he really in the radiant stage? Another elder panted, his whole body covered in blood as he stared at Zhuo Fan with bitterness. If we want to destroy his soul, I fear we'll all be annihilated. He might be on his last breath, but I know that his body is as tough as a zombie's. If we want to kill him, we'll have to pay the price. And to think this used to be an easy mission. Now look what came of it. The other 2 nodded. Yeah. What? As the trio discussed, a shout had them all startled. They saw Zhao Dezhu in shock as he wobbled over. Elders, what are you saying? We've lost so many. 5 soul harmony stage elders and 400 ethereal stage experts? The elders sighed and nodded, shaking all over. Zhao Dezhu turned around and looked outraged at Zhuo Fan panting in the distance. Zhuo Fan, why aren't you dead yet? I personally asked for this mission from the sect. With so many dead, how am I to explain it? Zhao Deju's raving was unheard by Zhuo Fan. He just stood there with a cold gaze. 500 ethereal stage experts and 8 elders were sent, yet we can't even catch a radiant stage cultivator after a whole day of fighting? We even lost so many men and 5 elders. This outcome had finally sinked into Zhao Deju as he raved. Just what the hell are you? Why can't you just die? You just kept fighting the universal righteous sects, 500 experts, to not overtake you for one day. You ruined my life. You ruined my future. Zhuo Fan just stood there in silence. The others reminded Zhao Deju, senior brother, we've been fighting for 3 days, not one. What? Zhao Deju's but hit the ground from the shock. I've been out for 3 days? He's been holding on for 3 days? The 3 elders flushed and lowered their heads in shame. So many men were fighting, yet they could not take one radiant stage cultivator down even after 3 days? Talk about a humiliation. The ever-silent Zhuo Fan finally let out a stiff voice. Ha ha ha, I see, it's been 3 days. That means you won't catch them. With those words, Zhuo Fan collapsed and the dragon's soul closed its eyes and vanished. Only the sword entered Zhuo Fan and was gone startled. The men looked around stumped. Why did he suddenly collapse when no one did anything when he lasted 3 days of fighting? Zhao Deju was also startled. An elder came to Zhuo Fan and sighed. I see, he's already dead. He's dead. Zhao Deju cried, but he was still. The elder shook his head. He was holding on that last breath to stop us from chasing the girls. With this last effort, he held us back for 3 days. In fact, his body must have died long ago, only his soul remaining. How strange! He is covered in deep wounds, each deadly, yet he could still stand. He must have died on his feet. Taking a deep breath, another elder stared at Zhuo Fan. When any other's body is destroyed, their soul would scatter. But he could drag out the last breath with his body up till now. Such willpower, even for a demonic cultivator, it's that of a hero. How freakish! He's an unheard of monster. The third elder's eyes flashed, filled with bloodlust. Don't forget he controlled his heavily wounded soul and this broken corpse to fight us for 3 days. No matter how heroic, how can one breath last him for so long? Who can control both the body and the soul? This thing would be too dangerous to be left alive. The 3 elders nodded and shouted, Kill! They all struck at once, holding nothing back even against his corpse. They were soul harmony experts, and their blows would sure wipe off every trace of his existence, however. A flash of golden slammed the trio away. When they stopped, they saw a youth in a golden cloak. Yi Lin, what are you doing here? Zhao Deju cried out, ignoring him. Yi Lin only looked at Zhuo Fan. Placing him on his shoulder, the elders shouted, Put him down right now! You want to kill him? Yi Lin sneered as he looked at them with despise. You are not worthy! Chapter 781, Inferno. Chapter 781, Inferno. Proofreader, Papatonks. Shaking all over, the 3 elders' expressions turned heavy. They might have not gone to Double Dragon Gathering, but they heard of him from Zhao Deju's report. Yi Lin, Double Dragon Gathering's runner-up. He fought with Zhuo Fan on the same level. Even being able to push Zhuo Fan back for a while, such an expert had to be on the same level as Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan alone was bad enough, reducing them to this state, but adding Yi Lin into the mix, and their hearts sank, however. They were not about to let Zhuo Fan, who was barely even alive, go. They had paid too much already, and if they did not achieve some manner of success, they would be too ashamed to return to the sect, so one elder flicked his spiritual weapon and stepped forward as he urged. Ultimate Clarity Sect is a righteous sect like the Universal Righteous Sect. Yi Lin, we have heard of your great name, the future of our righteous path. Why then would you have come to save a demonic cultivator whelp? If we don't get rid of him now, he will be a calamity upon the righteous sects, you included. I'm sure you don't want to be beneath another, to let Western Land's strongest man title fall in the hands of a vile demonic cultivator. He. Today, the universal righteous sect stepped in to eliminate him, to purge demons and protect Western Land's righteous path. Just turn a blind eye and leave him here. You won't be reprimanded for it, being called cynical or jealous. You won't get your hands dirty, and you'd get famous as well. 2 birds with 1 stone. Shut your trap. The elder appealed to his devotion and on his practical side. Thinking Yi Lin would surely agree since he'd be the biggest winner in this, however, the elder was rudely cut off. He stared at Yi Lin's dark look as the young man raged. A loss is a loss, a win is a win. I will never lower myself to these filthy schemes and stain my name as a sacred beast inheritor. Sacred beast inheritor. The others looked at each other puzzled. What's that? Humph, nothing but a bunch of despicable dirtbags from the mortal domain. It's like talking to retards. Yi Lin mocked them, then looked at Zhuo Fan on his shoulder and sighed. This man might be the only one like me in the world. Yi Lin's hand shone golden, and a fist-sized ball appeared. Releasing golden flames that burned hot, the others jerked back in fear. They did not know what that was. But it released a true power of destruction. They could feel it in their bones, that it was terrifying. Not even the 3 elders could take it on. They gulped and sweated as they looked at it. Yi Lin, what is that? Zhao Dezhu shook backward. Finally working up his courage, Yi Lin snickered. The dead don't need to know. And who the hell would be on the same side with you? In this world, only one man is worthy. The rest are worthless. Yi Lin flicked his shoulder, and the golden ball shot into the crowd. Their instinct screamed at them to flee, not that they could boom. In a huge explosion that scattered the clouds, even the earth cracked. The golden ball exploded in everyone's faces, unleashing its scorching flames everywhere. In a blink, an inferno was born. The fire burned high and warped the air as it did. On the verge of breaking space itself, Zhao Dezhu and his 100 experts, the 3 elders included, had no time to even cry out. Obliterated down to the last vestige, the inferno spread for 1,000 miles, burning everything and turning it into hell. Nothing living remained. Yi Lin looked coldly and then faded away from this place. Meanwhile, whoosh! In the dead of night, 3 girls fled, with the leading one showing signs of crying. Sister Qingcheng, it's been 3 days. They shouldn't chase us now. Let's rest. Danner saw Chu Qingcheng's weary look and proposed Shui. Ruohuan nodded. Qingcheng, in your sadness you gave all you had and are hurt. It's best we rest for now. Maybe Zhuo Fan would even catch up. No, Zhuo Fan is using his life so we can escape. How can we fail him? Closing her eyes, Chu Qingcheng gnashed her teeth, her eyes tearing up again. We'll only stop when we get to Double Dragon Manor. Chu Qingcheng's voice was firm. The girls shook their heads and sighed. Boom. A huge explosion came from far away, followed by towering flames. Such an intense heat spread everywhere as it scorched everything. The girls were flying, yet could still feel the heat wave reaching them, pushing them into the ground. When they finally got up, they stood dumbstruck. The inferno reached the heavens like a gateway to hell. Nothing alive was spared. Even though they were thousands of miles away, they could still feel its scorching heat lick their faces. Gods, what happened there? Where did this fire come from? Danner gasped and then cried out, Isn't that where Brother Zhuo is? Danner. Shui Ruohua shouted and glared at her, startled. Danner noticed Chu Qingcheng looked at the fire with a stunned look, her eyes shedding tears. Zhuo Fan! With a wail, Chu Qingcheng flew onward, but Shui Ruohua stopped her. Qingcheng, are you crazy? With such a raging fire, you'll die if you go. I don't care. Zhuo Fan! Chu Qingcheng lost her calm, giving a mournful cry and struggling to go. Shui Ruohua steeled her heart and struck her neck, rendering her unconscious, looking at Danner. The 2 sighed at the crying Chu Qingcheng. They had never seen the always dignified girl be so frantic. She really cared for Zhuo Fan, heart in pain. Danner pitied Chu Qingcheng. Then she asked, Senior Sister Ruohua, what do we do now? What else can we do? Get Qingcheng to Double Dragon Manor. Only there will we be safe. And brother Zhua? Danner asked, looking back at the blaze. Shui Ruohua sighed. This inferno is not something we can handle. I hope he's all right, but... Shui Ruohua shook her head and her eyes were filled with sorrow. Danner lowered her head, her eyes moist. She knew that under such devastating destruction, Zhou Fan had no chance at all. The two took Chu Qingqing with a heavy heart and resumed their journey to Double Dragon Manor in Wingay City. Luo clan, Zhou Fan. Schwanger was sleeping when she suddenly jolted awake and shouting. Her eyes were shining like the clear, starry sky, her face a mask of fear. Creak. The door opened and Luo Yinhai with Luo Yinchang entered. Luo Yinchang sat next to her and asked, Schwanger, what happened? Why did you shout with all your strength? You have everyone scared. What exactly is going on? Sister Yunchang, Zizhua Fan is dead. Schwanger's lips quivered as tears fell. Luo Yinhai shook in disbelief. Schwanger, what are you saying? He is married to Edifice Lord Chu and a sect leader. He should be happy right now, not? Luo Yunchang's eyes teared up, her heart frantic. I don't know. Schwanger shook her head. I just really saw how Zizhua Fan fell in a pool of blood, then the golden flames. Clan head, Sister Schwanger is the holy maiden of the empire, peering into the workings of the world. Steward Zhua might be outside such machinations, but this premonition might not be unfounded. Lung Wucheng analyzed. It seems it has gone as I feared, and so quick at that. Luo Yinhai flicked his hand and shouted, Guard! Send a spy to the demon scheming sect to feel them out. Report back at once. Yes, sir. A shout came from beyond the door. Chapter 782. Ren Xiaoyan. Chapter 782. Ren Xiaoyan. Proofreader, Papatonks. Knock. In a dusky room with few lights arranged, the face of High Venerable was reflected as he sat cross-legged. A heavy voice came from outside. Breaking his peace, Who is it? Master, it's I. I came to pay my respects. A familiar voice spoke with respect. Elder Yuan spoke. Wu Yue, you haven't done it for centuries, so what made you pick the habit again? Ha ha ha, it's not so strange, Master. Xia, Wu Yue spoke. I have been a sect leader all this time, keeping with the sect's norms, and could not pay my master any respects. Now that I have stepped down, and I'm free, I of course have to make up for all those years. Elder Yuan felt doubt inside, but softened in the end. Wanting to go back to those close times with his disciple, he lifted the seal on the door. Enter. The heavy stone door was pushed open, and Xiaowu stepped in with a smile. He kneeled and kowtowed 3 times. Master, I came to pay my respects. Like a good child, Xiaowu put on a genial face, nodding. Elder Yuan's eyes held a hint of sneer. Wu Yue, you only came here for your own reason, not to pay me respects. Master, I would never. Humph, a master knows his student. You were never so honest. Elder Yuan sighed and waved, Say your piece. Xiaowu looked Elder Yuan in the eye as he chuckled. The older, the wiser, as they say. I can't hide anything from Master. Ha ha ha, Master. I have reflected deeply on your guidance a month ago and ask that Master gives me another chance. You still want to be a sect leader? Elder Yuan eyed him. Xiaowu nodded with a smile. Yes, a nation can't be without a king, and the same applies to a sect. Zhou Fan has gone to Double Dragon Manor just as he became sect leader, leaving the seat empty. If it was just a couple of days or so, it wouldn't matter, but he will be gone for decades. Not handling the matters a sect leader does will lead to the sect becoming a mess. Don't worry, there's also me. Moreover, there are venerables helping. Master, you're the High Venerable. Leading the sex matters in the name of the sect leader will lead to bad rumors. If it drags out, some might say that High Venerable wants to break the sect's ancient rules, to take matters into your own hand and the seat. Who would spread such gossip? Elder Yuan looked squarely at Xiaowu. Xiaowu's head jerked back, lowering it as he bowed. I could never try to surmise what my master thinks, but others will surely prattle and ruin master's name, especially those venerables who only scheme and fight each other. They may be agreeing with everything you say now, but when their power grow, they would take matters into their own hands. As a venerable, since you can handle the sex affairs, why can't they? That's why there are ancient rules. Deposing and even fraternization is possible, but only a sect leader can lead, or it will affect people's hearts and invite disaster. Humph! Who would scheme to exceed sect leader's authority? Elder Yuan stood up and flicked his sleeve as he shouted, I am an open man and only handle the matters of the sect in Zhuo Fan's stead for the next years. When he returns, he will be taking up his duty as sect leader. Face twitching, Xia Wui's expression darkened. Master, you're too heartless. You'd rather wait on him than let me lead for these decades, rather than give me a chance? I promise that in these years, I will see to the public opinion. Once he's back, no one will follow him. Let all know that there's only one sect leader, Xia Wuyue. Wuyue! I see now you not once reflected on what I told you. With a saddened look, Elder Yuan shook his head. Public opinion is merely a method, while what matters is wisdom. That is what makes people follow you. Without it, you might catch their hearts in short term, but they would soon scatter later. When you understand the meaning of Tao, when you find your path, will then speak of the sect leader position. Taking a deep breath, Xia Wui's eyes went cold, clutching his fists. Tao? Humph, master, you're only being vague. Who can understand such unreal things? You're only using it as an excuse to stop me from being a sect leader. Slowly turning away, Elder Yuan no longer looked at him. He sighed in disappointment. Master, you're casting me out. I am trying so hard here, but you... Xia Wu tensed and his clenched fists crackled. Then a hint of bloodthirst appeared in his eyes. He made a claw with his hand and struck Elder Yuan's waist. High profound, ranked martial art, Flood Dragon Claw. Whoosh! Xia Wuyue's dark claw arrived right before Elder Yuan. Elder Yuan was outraged. He never thought his disciple would have the nerve to strike his master down. Elder Yuan unleashed his power as well. His heavy power pressed on Xia Wuyue. Stopping the claw in its track, Elder Yuan flicked his hand and grabbed his arm to throw him out. Bam! Xia Wuyue was slammed into the wall like a rag doll before slumping to the ground. He coughed a lot of blood. Xia Wuyue, you're insane. I'm your master, yet you dare raise your hand? Clenching his fists, Elder Yuan's eyes were bloodshot from anger. Xia Wuyue gave a crazed, mocking smile. Master? You threw me off the sect leader seat, and you dare call yourself master? Elder Yuan's face shook, his heart overcome with grief. A green glow enveloped the dusky room. Xia Wuyue mocked. Impermanence 5, you finally came out. You make for poor bodyguards. What if I had hurt High Venerable? No one in the sect can surpass High Venerable in power. You can't hurt him. Our duty is only to prevent an ambush and disturb High Venerable's cultivation. Elder, she's voice came from green glow. As your master and disciple, we should not interfere. But sect leader Xia, you need to understand, High Venerable had never mistreated you. He had handled the matter of the sect leader position perfectly. Or did you really think you'd be alive if Zhuo Fan started a fight? Xia Wu wiped the blood from his mouth and nodded. You're right, and I know that. That's why I gave him one last chance to change his mind, help me take my seat back while Zhuo Fan was not here. However, he cast me out. It's not my fault here. Moreover, since I did not kill him with my strike, you can take it as repaying his favor for saving me. You've simply lost it. Xia Wuyue, you really think you could have harmed me? Elder Yuan shouted. Impermanence 5, arrest Xia Wuyue. Yes, sir. The elders nodded and made a sign. The green glow flashed and sent green lights for Xia Wuyue, and around him with an evil glint in his eyes, Xia Wuyue mocked, not minding it at all. Ha ha ha, lost it? Yuan Xinggong, don't think you're the strongest in demon scheming sect, that you're untouchable. I could have really killed you back then, but I didn't to break the ties between us. We don't owe each other anything now. Watch. Xia Wuye shook his arm, and the storage ring on his hand flashed. A mighty power exploded from within and slammed into the vicissitude domain boom. The green glow shook, and the Impermanence 5 had no cough blood. Who did this? Elder, she roared. A cackle entered their ears. Demon scheming sex Impermanence 5 sure are something. You still breathe, and only your domain is broken despite suffering the might of a soul harmony stage. Whoosh! A gray figure of a middle-aged man appeared, tall and imposing before Elder Yuan. Elder Yuan gasped in shock. Heaven-trailing sect leader, Ren Xiaoyan! Ha ha ha, it is indeed I. Ren Xiaoyan turned to Xia Wuye's ring. It was a smart move to use the ring for an ambush. How did you came up with it? Sect leader Xia Wuye bowed slightly. I only learned it from a certain shameless traitor. I didn't think it would work to bring you so easily before High Venerable. High Venerable, now do you believe me? Xia Wuye turned to Elder Yuan with a smile. If it wasn't me who struck you before, but sect leader Rin from the ring, you would have died instead of preaching to me. Elder Yuan's beard shook as he gnashed his teeth. That's why I said I went easy on you for being your disciple. Ha ha ha, Xia Wuye snickered. Chapter 783. Shocking Changes in the Sect. Chapter 783. Shocking Changes in the Sect. Proofreader, Papatonks. Why? High Venerable squinted at Ren Xiaoyan. As the sect leader of Heaven Trailing Sect, the head of the Empire's 3 guardian sects, how could you side with the stubborn disciple and enter my sect to do this despicable thing? Ren Xiaoyan waved his hand in disdain. Oh, no, High Venerable, you misunderstand. That stubborn disciple is a great sect leader. I only accepted sect leader's invitation to help him settle the chaos. What chaos? Elder Yuan soon realized as he watched the two's devious grins. I see. I was wondering how the Heaven Trailing Sect would dare meddle with the demon scheming sect unafraid of Double Dragon Manor. Heaven Trailing Sect. You two already have your excuse ready, using settling the chaos to eliminate the opposition and put him on his seat. Grinning, Ren Xiaoyan nodded. High Venerable sure is wise figuring out so fast. But you shouldn't say it. After all, we're righteous cultivators, and labeling us like this would hurt our name. Humph. Yeah, Heaven Trailing Sect is mighty righteous. Elder Yuan squinted and gnashed his teeth. Turning to Xia Wuye, you consorted with another sect to shame your ancestors and master. Do you really think you have any right to be a sect leader? Consorting? Didn't Shuo Fan do the same by bringing outsiders to steal my power? Why did you still take his side and spit on me? Shuo Fan brought his own men and did not take the sect. But you had Heaven Trailing Sect come here. Just what did you have to pay for this? Elder Yuan roared. Xia Wuye clenched his fists but did not speak. Ren Xiaoyan smiled. I'll answer that. To help sect leader Xia regain his seat, my Heaven Trailing Sect would offer its support for the low price of 5,000 sacred stones. The mystical Heaven Sect didn't want anything, happy with just getting revenge by killing all that ruined his sect. What? Elder Yuan shook, looking at Xia Wuye in disbelief. You actually gave half of the rewards of Double Dragon Gathering to an outsider, and even brought our enemy to kill us. As they talked, there were shouts and battle cries coming from outside. Elder Yuan was furious. He knew the sect had a traitor working with the outsiders to lead to the ruin of the sect. It might never recover from this. Xia Wuye fell silent, but then he spoke coldly. If the sect isn't mine, what use do I have for it? Why would I let anyone who won't obey me live? Why, you little... Pointing his shaking finger at Xia Wuye, Elder Yuan went red from anger as he barked. You're just like Tianyu's emperor. Xia Wuye, you were never worthy to be a sect leader. You're a traitor to the demon scheming sect, and I will remove you in the name of our ancestors. Elder Yuan charged at Xia Wuye, the power he released pushing Xia Wuye back. He never thought that as a peak ethereal stage expert, he would be unable to resist High Venerable's pressure, but then Ren Xiaonan laughed and blocked his palm. Ha ha ha, High Venerable, aren't you looking down on me by killing someone with me here? You do know we're here to help sect leader Xia settle the chaos. If the sect leader died, how could our excuse stand? You'd go and get double Dragon Manor to fight us. Ha ha ha, that just won't do. Ren Xiaoyan, screw off, or today is your funeral. Elder Yuan roared. Ren Xiaoyan smiled. Yuan Qinggong, you must be so full of yourself. As far as I know, you're nothing but a peak ethereal stage expert, while I'm in the second layer of soul harmony stage. You won't kill me even if you want to. The two's attacks clashed. Bam. A fierce sound echoed, and Elder Yuan was pushed back 5 steps, while Ren Xiaoyan 10 steps. How is this possible? Ren Xiaoyan looked at him in disbelief while crying out, You're in the soul harmony stage. What? Xia Weiwei was shocked and perplexed. No way, that's impossible. Master told me his constitution is lacking and won't go beyond the ethereal stage in his life. How can he be in the soul harmony stage? With a smile of disdain, earthen dragon scales appeared on Elder Yuan's hands. It was my blessing to meet Zhuofan, giving me a 10th grade pill, heaven-reaching pill to change my constitution and break through. My soul is also that of an earth dragon. Once uniting it with my body, I'll be as strong as the earth. I might be in the first layer, but to deal with a third layer isn't a problem. That goes double for the second layer. Curses! How could this happen? I underestimated you. Demon scheming sex High Venerable. Ren Xiaoyan turned serious and unleashed all his power, no longer looking down on him. Xiao could hardly believe it as he asked, Is that why you sided with Zhuofan, because he helped you? Humph, fool, I've always been impartial. You know that very well. Elder Yuan mocked him. You only asked to come up with an excuse for Zhuofan taking the seat as a result of siding with him, making you feel that being the sect leader is justly. But I already told you, Xia Weiwei, you'll never amount to what Zhuofan is. He replaced you and brought back Dao. For trying to take back the sect leader position in betrayal, you had incurred heaven's wrath. Xia Weiwei's eyes were bloodshot from anger as he bellowed, Enough! Why do you keep trusting an outsider, but not your own disciple? You must die for this. Humph! We'll just see who goes first. Elder Yuan shouted and shot for Xia Weiwei, but Ren Xiaoyan blocked him. Bang. Powerful shockwaves spread, making even the 9th grade array shake from how much power was unleashed. Elder Yuan and Ren Xiaoyan were tangled up for now, unable to make a winner clear so soon. Xia Weiwei looked from the side, feeling like not even sect leader Ren could keep him safe, and wanted to slip away, but Elder Yuan shouted, Impermanence 5! Grab that degenerate disciple! Yes, sir. Impermanence 5 shouted and released their vicissitude domain, trapping Xia Weiwei as countless green lights wrapped around him. Curses! Xia Weiwei hurriedly made a sign, calling for a flood dragon. His soul, it was not up to Earth Dragon Soul standard, but it was still a top beast soul. The Impermanence 5 would have a hard time for a while in this room. Elder Yuan and Impermanence 5 were fighting with heaven-trailing sect leader and a traitor. Outside it, fires and chaos reigned as bodies piled up. Heaven-trailing sect was a middle 3 sect with tons of experts, adding to that mystical heaven sect hell-bent on revenge, and Venerable Sure working behind the scenes. Venerable Bai's faction was caught unprepared under the sudden onslaught. They had no power to fight back, only dying one after the other with a wail or a pleading for mercy. The best in the sect, High Venerable, was now caught up in a fight with Ren Xiaoyan. The second Venerable Sure, was a traitor joining their killing. Who could save them now? At the brink of despair, they could only breathe their lives in this hell. Curses! Why is there an enemy attack? Why hasn't the sect array given a sign? What's going on? Why are there so many enemies? Save me! Help! What ugh? Wails reigned as sect leader Xian led the charge in a crazed assault. Kill them with joy! Kill them good! Let them pay for ruining mystical heaven sect, for killing my son. I won't let any of them escape. Kill them to the last man, ha ha ha. Venerable Sure was silent at the side, just fiddling with his beard. The elders and venerables behind him sighed. They were from the inner sect and against the labor office, but they were from the same sect. Seeing their own people slaughtered filled them with pain. Sect leader Xian is enjoying his revenge, so why are you here to watch this hellish brutality? A cold voice reached Venerable Sure's ear. Moreover, the dead are all part of your sect. Even if you have differences, they're on the same side. Shouldn't you at least not want to see the disciple fall like this? Venerable Sure shook and looked back and shouted, Why you? Chapter 784 Heaven Trailing Sword. Chapter 784 Heaven Trailing Sword. Proofreader, Papatonks. Heaven Trailing Sword of the One Sword, 5 Dragons. Appearing before Venerable Sure was a cold man in his 30s. He had sharp brows and shining eyes. With but a hint of white on his temples, he gulped. He might look young. But Venerable Sure knew that he was as strong as High Venerable, known as Heaven Trailing Sword, and even above the 5 dragons, High Venerable was part of. He never thought that since this operation was a cinch with the 2 sides joining up, Heaven Trailing Sect would send such a powerhouse here as well to make sure everything run like clockwork. Venerable Sure hurriedly bowed. Forgive me for not being there to welcome you, Senior. I did not expect Sect Leader Rin to show so much care in our cooperation to even have Senior here. Sect Leader didn't ask me to come. I came by myself. Heaven Trailing Sword cut him off. Rare are those in the Western Lands 9 sect that can catch my eye. While your High Venerable is of a past generation, I still respect him. Ugh. Venerable Sure tensed, and his face froze. What's that supposed to mean? Did he come to help the old coot? As long as he lives, the betrayal will be ruined. Sweating like a pig, Venerable Sure was filled with worry. The man mocked him. No need to fret. Since it's sect leader who leads the attack, the Heaven Trailing Sect will join him as well. I, of course, won't disobey him. I only came to see him before he dies. He then showed a sad look and asked, By the way, I heard that sect leader came to fight him. Where is he? In the main hall's side room. Go a mile forward and then you'll find it on your side. Venerable Sure eased a breath and guided him. The man nodded and flew away, but not before saying his last piece. All right, you still haven't answered my question. What are your thoughts on seeing your fellow people getting butchered? Well, Venerable Sure was lost for words. The man laughed and mocked. There used to be men in the demon scheming sect, but from now on there won't be any more. The man was gone. Venerable Sure, who is that man? He's too cocky. One elder huffed, wanting to deal with him. He was clearly mocking us. He may be from Heaven Trailing Sect, but he's too arrogant. We're working together now, but not even Sect Leader Rin disregarded us. Everyone stands to gain from this. Shut your mouth. Venerable Sure glared at him and sighed. Even in the Heaven Trailing Sect, that man is an absolute existence, only beneath Sect Leader. He's just like our High Venerable, if not more amazing. The man couldn't believe it, you mean? Yes, he's Heaven Trailing Sect's High Venerable. Heaven Trailing Sword Xiao Yunshan. Venerable Sure sighed. Thinking back to when Heaven Trailing Sect was still a lower 3 sect, he alone rose the sect to be a middle 3 sect in the Double Dragon Gathering, solidifying the sect's position. That year, only he entered the Double Dragon Manor. He was a monster like Zhuo Fan is today. The elder gasped. I didn't think Heaven Trailing Sect would send even him. It's too much. Our forces are more than enough. Why? Are you deaf? Didn't you hear he came by himself? Venerable Sure sighed. Heroes respect heroes. He and High Venerable had been friends back then, and now he came to send him off. The elder nodded and frowned. As long as he won't help him. Relax. Heaven Trailing Sword is most loyal to his sect. Since Heaven Trailing Sect works with us, High Venerable is their enemy. The fact he came only assures of our success. Grinning evilly, Venerable Sure said, High Venerable is dead for sure. The others nodded, with only sect leader Xian ignoring them completely, focused as he was on dishing out pain and death. His eyes were crazed. Kill, ha ha ha. Ever since his son died, the old coot lost his marbles, ignoring even heaven-trailing sword. Venerable sure pointed, and the others sneered the mad geezer. Meanwhile, in the room, powerful waves spread out constantly that shook the room. White one more explosion. The barrier was about to give Elder Yuan, and Rin Xiaoyan fought bitterly, with every punch and kick enough to rend space and destroy everything. Such power made the impermanence 5-foot vicissitude domain shake as well and hard to maintain. Xia Huai was panicking at the side because he could see that sect leader Ren was slipping. If he did not leave now, he would die at Elder Yuan's hand. Elder Yuan actually entered the soul harmony stage and became such a powerhouse. Now that he fused with the Earth Dragon soul, he was tough as nails. Not even Rin Xiaoyan in the second layer of soul harmony stage could cope. Xia Wuyue's heart sank. The violent flood dragon soul clawed at the vicissitude domain to get out, but it was just too strong even for the sect leader at this time. The worst happened. Bang. Elder Yuan flicked a dragon claw and slammed Ren Xiaoyan's fist away, then used this chance to land 3 heavy palms on his chest. With a groan, Ren Xiaoyan spat blood and flew backward. Sect leader Rin Xia Wuyue cried out in fear. I'm done for. Sect leader Ren lost. Now High Venerable will come for me. As Xia Wuyue lost his grip, Impermanence 5 used this chance to send green rays at him to seal him up. Even the flood dragon had to howl at being stuck. Xia Wuyue jerked, and his heart sank in despair. He would soon die. Whoosh! Elder Yuan's palm struck with all his might for Rin Xiaoyan's head. To finish him for good, Rin Xiaoyan was startled and was about to dodge. But he was slow from the previous wound. He was feeling regret for coming here in person instead of sending a bunch of oldies after this old coot. Maybe he wanted to see the hidden dragon among the 5 dragons. Demon scheming sex High Venerable. He was after all the only person respected by heaven-trailing sex heaven-trailing sword. Now look what happened. This old coot was so tough that he entered soul harmony stage and now was about to kill him. He brought this on himself. He finally knew what it meant by curiosity. Killed the cat. Not that it helped him now. Seeing the palm coming closer and the death it promised, Ren Xiaoyun's heart sank, finding hard to swallow this outcome. Whoosh. However, they saw as a flashing sword wave came, and Elder Yuan's palm did not get to touch a single hair on Rin Xiaoyan. Forced to take it back and jump 20 feet away, he then noticed his dragon scale arms were dripping blood. The armor ruin. That was just one hit. Everyone was in shock at the turn of events. Then came a cold face that stood next to Rin Xiaoyan. Those dead eyes were devoid of joy or sadness, staring at Elder Yuan. Chapter 785, Demon Without His Path. Chapter 785, Demon Without His Path. Proofreader, Papatonks. Yuan Xingong, it's been a while. So you came as well, Xiao Yunshan. Elder Yuan and Xiao Yunshan stared at each other, like old friends that hadn't seen each other in ages. But it also felt like a meeting of strangers from how cold the reception was. Rin Xiaoyan was overjoyed. High Venerable, you came just in time. This old man is in the soul harmony stage and harder to fight than we thought. Soul harmony stage, is it? Xiao Yunshan rose an eyebrow. Yuan Xingong, you surprise me again. With your aptitude, I thought that ethereal stage would be the end for you. It's truly amazing you reached soul harmony stage. You're a miracle worker. Elder Yuan shook his head. There's nothing miraculous about it, just perseverance. All I had was endless focus to reach my goals. Yeah, but even so, you've opened my eyes. Xiao Yunshan nodded. Elder Yuan shook his head and sighed. I fear this would be the last time. Have you come to kill me? No. I only heard of the sect plan and knew you would pass away and came to see you one last time. Xiao Yunshan looked at the pale Rin Xiaoyan, then said, but by the looks of it, I'll have to intervene. Yuan Xingong, we both know each other well. The vow we made in a fit of fury is still fresh in my mind. You should know my determination. Elder Yuan nodded. All that matters is the sect. Since High Venerable decided to take my life, as its High Venerable, you must carry it out. I understand and always have. Then words are unnecessary. Our 102nd fight will also be the last. Xiao Yunshan made a flourishing gesture as he said, Let us put a final end to our friendship. Elder Yuan squinted and nodded. I shall show you what I gained these years. Ha ha ha, right back at you. You won't touch a single hair on me. We'll see. Elder Yuan unleashed his power, making earthly scales cover his entire body. He went all out from the start. Even Ren Xiaoyan found it hard to breathe. He was shocked by the power he had despite being a fresh soul harmony cultivator. This coot is strong. Xiao Yunshan's eyes shook. I knew you won't let me down. Then I should get to it as well and give you a proper parting. Xiao Yunshan showed his power as well, releasing bidding winds. He drew out 2 fingers, and the sharpness his body had was enough to cut the world heaven-trailing sword, the invincible. None could stand up to that sword. This was his power, as the best of the one sword 5 dragons. Elder Yuan's eyes shook and sighed. Heaven-trailing sword indeed. He knew what would come next, but his determination was firm. He shouted and charged with a draconic roar. Immense power exploded, and ruining the room, Xiao Yunshan charged as well, meeting him halfway. Ugh! The 2 crossed each other, then stopped. There was no boom and no sign anything happened. Yet the outcome was already obvious, but the speed was too fast for any to see. Elder Yuan fell to one knee as blood seeped from his mouth. But his face was still the same, having known how it would end behind him. Xiao Yunshan stood there on his 2 feet, with a little blood on his fingers from Elder Yuan, lost in the end. Elder Yuan's eyes grew hazy. You still won, just like every other fight we had. Xiao Yunshan remained silent. His face calm. Ren Xiaoyan was overjoyed. High Venerable was so powerful to defeat such a thorn so easily. He really was the heaven-trailing sword. Xia Wuya was cackling. Ha ha ha, you're finally done for, old man? Humph! With heaven-trailing sect helping me, none can touch me. Elder Yuan frowned, and his weak body stood straight, his fist clenched. Xia Wuya, even if I die today, I will take you down with me. Gnashing his teeth, Elder Yuan exploded with power as he shot for Xia Wuya with a palm. Xia Wuya panicked. He was trapped by the Impermanence 5 and could not even defend himself. Ren Xiaoyan shouted. High Venerable, don't let him kill sect leader Xia, or High Venerable will suffer. Elder Yuan was about to strike Xia Wuya, but then he spat blood as he slumped to the ground behind him. Xiao Yunshan's 2 fingers released a sharp glow with a cold face. High Venerable! Impermanence 5 cried out. Just then, a boom came, and the vicissitude domain crumbled with the 5 elders blown away. Ren Xiaoyan laughed and flicked his fist covered in yuan qi as he sneered at them. He turned a smile to Xia Wuya. Sect leader Xia, you're all right. Thank you, sect leader Ren, I am. Cupping his hands, Xia Wuya sighed, then mocked Elder Yuan. High Venerable, sorry to disappoint, but you never got to kill me. From now on, Demon Scheming Sect is mine. No matter who it is that tries to fight me, he will die, even you. Xia Wuya raised his hand, and a black claw formed and was sent towards the defenseless Impermanence 5. Coughing blood, Impermanence 5 lost their lives, leaving only Elder Shi's last words. High Venerable, us brothers will go on ahead. Plop! Their bodies fell to the ground with a resounding sound. High Venerable heard it, yet his face remained flat. He forced himself to sit, showing a happy smile. Xiao Yunshan, after not having seen for so long, allow me to tell you something. I have another disciple, a true genius. The day will come that he would surpass all other geniuses. I am a waste, but I have a true genius disciple. Smart, filial, reasonable, and dignified. Elder Yuan's eyes grew moist, feeling he would not see his disciple again. But he did not get to finish as he turned to Xia Wuya and gnashed his teeth in anger. Xia Wuya, you're only a demon without his path. Demon scheming sect will one day be condemned under you. Shut it, geezer. Demon scheming sect is now a middle three sect under my rule. Shua Fan has nothing to do with it. He's nothing but a pawn of mine. Only I can take demon scheming sect to the top. Why won't you believe me? Xie Yue was angry, shaking Elder Yuan's shoulders and shouting at him, but Elder Yuan could no longer hear as blood fell from his mouth, his eyes still smiling. Elder Yuan had passed away looking at Elder Yuan's body. Xiao Yunshan turned to Xiao Yunshan's crazed look and sighed. Yuan Xinggang, how sad you left nothing behind, ugh! He suddenly clutched his belly and spat blood. High Venerable, what's wrong? Ran Xiaoyan cried. Xiao Yunshan waved him off and looked at Elder Yuan with laughter. Yuan Xinggang, it's almost been 1,000 years and 101 fights, but this time I had lost to you. I take it back. You're not useless, but a true genius in the Western lands, a genius worthy of entering Double Dragon Manor. Overcome with sadness, Xiao Yunshan sighed and left her, and Xiaoyan saw Xie Yue was still lost in his insanity and figured the matter was done. Ignoring him and going after High Venerable meanwhile, the slaughter outside went on and on endlessly. Chapter 786, Master and Disciple. Chapter 786, Master and Disciple. Proofreader, Papatonks. In the middle of the night, a blaze reached the heavens coming out of the main hall. Xiao Yunshan observed the hellish scenery around, accompanied by an endless strings of wails and cries of agony. His heart sighed with disappointment when Xiaoyan came from behind to stand next to him. He bowed. High Venerable, is it possible that you and demon scheming sect's High Venerable were friends? Why would you care so much that he died? If you really were friends, why? Kill him. Ran Xiaoyan finished his thought, then frowned. We're not friends, but the opposite, bitter rivals. Rivals. Yes, rivals that have been fighting for 1,000 years. Xiao Yunshan sighed, looking at the sky as he recalled those times. When heaven-trailing sect and demon-scheming sect sent their disciples to compete, I was the best then and had defeated everyone. Even elites would quiver at the mere whisper of my name. In the arena, most of them would lose before they even struck. While I was filled with vigor and power, the demon scheming sect's team was like a bunch of rats. But then he came. Demon scheming sect's High Venerable. But he was no venerable then, not even a normal disciple, just a laborer. Xiao Yunshan smiled. One laborer actually dared to challenge me. Like anyone else in my position, I looked down on him and mocked him, only to find out at the end how much trouble he was. Not even 20 years passed, and he came challenging me again. I asked him what a laborer was trying to do, while he answered that he would definitely revitalize his sect and keep surpassing his limits. I laughed in his face, saying that I was far beyond his limit and he will never reach me. But he was stubborn regardless, fighting me again and again. I first found him amusing, so I humored him since he was easy to beat. But then I felt threatened. This kid, this laborer of poor constitution, was gaining on me one step at a time. I did not accept it and lashed out, telling him he was useless, that he couldn't touch a hair on me. In the end, he still came to fight me. I sometimes wanted to kill him. He sensed it as well and urged me, in fact, as if by killing him I showed that I was scared of him. Ha ha ha, how was he worth it? But what came next proved I was indeed afraid he would overtake me. A laborer actually forced me to get serious about training a genius like me to reaffirm my position. Sounds like a really bad joke, but that's how it was. This is how we became bitter rivals over time. Xiao Yunshan gave a sad smile. Our fights soon evolved to being a comparison of our sections. Who will be the first to take their sect higher? He's been High Venerable of the demon scheming sect for years and years, but our fights never stopped. I've gotten used to them over the years. Now that he's suddenly gone, I do feel a sense of loss and loneliness. Now there's no one to match my strength. Oh, I see. I didn't think demon scheming sect's High Venerable would have such a story. Truly inspiring. Rin Xiaoyan nodded. Xiao Yunshan sighed. He was amazing, but failed in the end. For wealth and fame, He tore up his sect. Xie Wue, with all his skills, is nothing more than a common man that won't amount to anything. Yes, only with him as sect leader can we rest easy. Ha ha ha. Rin Xiaoyan laughed, Xiao Yunshan nodded. As their adversary, the weaker, they're the better. After this, Venerable Shi will have Xie Wuyue's weakness and will hardly be neutral. Middle three sect? Ha ha ha, it's way too soon for them. A shame for all the effort Yuan Xingong put in. Is High Venerable regretful? No. Xiao Yunshan shook his head. I did not want him to die, but for the sect's good, I had to step in and do what needed to be done. He would have done the same. This was a kind of promise between us. He understood this the best. Rin Xiaoyan sighed. These two High Venerables were men among men, looking at the bigger picture and in impressive manner becoming rivals. It would have been a touching story in times of peace, but when the sect's interests were involved, one of them would end up as a sacrifice. Demon scheming sect's High Venerable did not die, in fact, from Xiao Yunshan, but by Xie Wuyue, his own disciple. The old man said something about having another disciple. He spoke with pride about him. Who is he? I'm interested to meet him. Xiao Yunshan asked. Rin Xiaoyan shook his head, bowing. High Venerable, the disciple he's talking about must be Zhuo Fan, who took Double Dragon Gathering by storm. Only you might not see him again? Why? I heard Xie Wue saying that the Universal Righteous sect went after him. Fine, you don't have to say it. Xiao Yunshan sighed. Since men from the superior three sects came forward, he has no chance. What a shame! I really wanted to see his prized disciple. Xiao Yunshan vanished from his spot, leaving Rin Xiaoyan standing there meanwhile. Deep in a forest, Gui Hu, Qi Changlong, Wer, Kuei Lang, and other disciples all fell limp on the ground and glaring at the person in front. Lu Xie, you poisoned us. Yep. How else would your Yuan Qi get sealed? Ha! Snickering, Lu Xie mocked them as two inner, ethereal stage elders came along clenching his fists. Qi Changlong shouted, Lu Xie, why would you do this? You dare attack us? High Venerable will soon find out, and there's no escape for you. Bai Lian threatened. The three laughed. High Venerable? They can hardly defend themselves, and you expect them to save you? Don't you see the chaos and smoke coming from the mountain? Humph, the labor office is finished. What are you talking about? Gui, who shouted. Lu Xie sneered. You'll soon be dead anyway, so I might as well explain. In fact, my master and I have planned in detail just for today. The tallest tree catches the most wind. Weren't you showing off with Zhuo Fan at the Double Dragon Gathering? You've been looking good. But that meant you earned many enemies as well. I followed Master's instructions and made contact with all the ones that hated Zhuo Fan, all for today. I bet the Universal Righteous sect must have already gone for Zhuo Fan. Heaven Trailing sect and Mystical Heaven sect worked with us to destroy the labor office, Zhuo Fan's factions, to avoid any mishap. Such a shame the beast-taming sect team at the Double Dragon Gathering was destroyed. Or I bet I'd get them on board too. Well, not that it mattered, ha ha ha. You went to get other sects involved. Qi Changlong roared. Double Dragon Manor will interfere. Lu Xie waved his hand in derision. You think we didn't know about it? Since you guys came up with an excuse to attack Mystical Heaven sect, why couldn't we as well? Humph! Zhuo Fan has only been a sect leader for just one day. Who'd recognize that? With Heaven Trailing sect and Mystical Heaven sect helping us stem the chaos in Demon Scheming sect. Xie Wuyue would be back as sect leader, and that made you with Zhuo Fan as traitors. How's that for logic? We're in the right here, ha ha ha. They all gnashed their teeth in hatred. They knew, as well, that Double Dragon Manor would not interfere in a sect's inner conflict. Also, Master had set this plan for a long time, suffering in silence. He figured that Zhuo Fan and Xie Wuyue would at some point butt heads, just as expected. Well, isn't my master much more cunning than Zhuo Fan? Lu Xie raised a taunting eyebrow and raised his fist with Yuan Qi. Qi Changlong, I told you, the best disciple in the sect will be me in the end. With you finished, all problems are solved. Bang. He didn't get to finish as 3 rays of red erupted. Lu Xia shook and looked down at the huge hole in his chest. Looking around, he saw the elders looking the same, only then he noticed a familiar figure. Why you, Grand Elder Why? Lu Xia, you talk too much, or I'd have struck faster. Haha, still green in the end. Grand Elder smirked and made a sign. A falcon 100 meters big came out and struck the 2 bodies on the ground. Ripping their souls apart next, the falcon grabbed the weakened Lu Xia, and he cried, Wait, aren't you part of the inner sect? Why? Yes, but Grand Elder's eyes flashed and roared, I'm Gui, who's master first and foremost. Chapter 787, Hounded. Chapter 787, Hounded. Proofreader, Papatonks. Shriek. With a sharp cry, the falcon swooped in on Lu Xia. He got so scared he wanted to run right away, but that was impossible with his wounded body. To fight back was an even worse decision with his meager power, so he resorted to begging. Wait, Grand Elder, I know Gui, who is your disciple, and never planned on harming him. You take me for a 3-year-old. Grand Elder mocked. Gui, who has a good body, and for you to become the best in the sect, you'll have to go through him. I know perfectly well how Venerable Shur and the inner sect operates. And besides, you might not harm Gui, who because of me. But what of Xia Weiwei? Humph! I know his nasty temper the most. He will leave nothing to chance, spare no one. With Gui, who being part of Labor Office, he won't be left alive. It's safer if I just take him away. Grand Elder's eyes flashed, he made a sign, and the falcon's talons took on a sharp glint. It passed through Lu Xia's body and came out holding a green spider in its claws. Grand Elder, don't! Please, let me go, Lu Xia cried out in panic. He finished his pleading with a mournful cry. The spider torn apart in the falcon's claws. Lu Xia's eyes became empty, and he plopped on the ground. Grand Elder sneered. Didn't I tell you? Don't take me for a 3-year-old. Was I supposed to let you live so you can come back for revenge? Humph. Grand Elder hastened over to Gui, who showed a vial. He took out recovery pills and shared them with the disciples. This is the antidote. Take it, and you'll be fine. Grand Elder spoke calmly. None hesitated and ate it in 15 minutes. They all could move again. Qi Changlong asked, Grand Elder, what's going on? Lu Xia said High Venerable wanted us here for special training, but then poisoned us as we heard people dying behind us. Did they really ask outsiders to bring enemies here? What about High Venerable? All he said was true. Grand Elder sighed. Venerable sure planned ahead, and even brought heaven-trailing sex expert. I fear not even High Venerable can hold on. Qi Changlong frowned and clenched his fists in hatred. I never thought that Venerable Shur would sell the sect for power. And that Xia Weiwei, he was the previous sect leader. He's so vile to join as well. This is called lust for power. If Xia Weiwei hadn't joined, Venerable Shur would have never do this, Grand Elder sighed. Bai Lian muttered. Grand Elder, aren't you with them? Since you did this for Gui Hu, why then didn't you notify High Venerable beforehand? Bai Lian, are you saying Master sold out his sect? Gui Hu glared at her. Master just saved our lives. Bai Lian only stared at Grand Elder. Wanting an explanation, Grand Elder looked hurt, nodding. Yes, I am an inner sect elder with Venerable Shur, but we have different goals. Venerable Shur wants power in the sect, and I want more resources to train my disciple. In any inner conflicts, I stood by his side. But this time he sold out the sect, and I could no longer do this. However, Venerable Shur was very cautious. When dealing with the 2 sects to attack us, he not once mentioned anything to any of us in the inner sect. All was done by him and Lu Xia. When we found out, it was already too late. I figured that when Xia Weiwei regained a seat, he will call all those that stood with Zhuo Fan, Gui, who might not escape, so I turned on them. You can believe what you want, but all I've done is for my disciple. Master. Gui, who was touched to tears, the others nodded, believing him for now. That was because they did not find any other reason why he'd save them. He only did it to save Gui Hu, and that meant saving them as well, his friends. The more people, The more they could correlate, and the more the chances of Gue, who to live this meant saving him and saving them. Come with me, I'll sneak you out of the sect. We're on the same team now. To survive Xia Wuyue's pursuit, we must work together. Grand Elder coughed, and his face grew hard. Qi Changlong flicked his sleeve, his eyes filled with fire. No, my grandfather and the others. Your own life is at stake, and you have time to worry about others. Grand Elder cut him off with a yell. Heaven-trailing sect and mystical heaven sect have the place surrounded. But your grandfathers aren't weak either. Maybe they can get out. But if you go back now, they will have to look after you, and you'll drag them down. I think that saving yourselves is the best way for you to help them. Qi Changlong's mouth shook and his shoulders slumped powerlessly. Bai Lian understood his feelings and lowered her head. The rest bit their lip. Feeling hatred at being powerless, Grand Elder said, "If you got that settled, let's go. Let's go even if you're unconvinced. Staying here won't help anyone." Grand Elder took the lead. Putting the roaring fire behind him, Grand Elder was right. All they could do with their meager strength was to bury their hatred deep within. They would cull these traitorous spawns in the future. Meanwhile, 10 miles off Demon's scheming sect, in a dark corner of a forest, the three fiends panted after their run. Seeing no one was behind them, they stopped to catch their breath. Curses! Just how in the hell did the sect fall so fast? Fiend Yang looked at the others in disbelief. They shook their heads. Fiend Yang frowned, looking behind him in pain. After living there for centuries, to see it gone like that shit, who did this? The 9 sects of Western lands? I'm going straight to Double Dragon Manor. This revenge I must have. Fiend Yang, something's wrong about this. Fiend Een said, unless there's an involvement outside of Western lands, there's no way they would not listen to Double Dragon Manor's rules. Fiend Yang shouted, you mean this was done by someone from other lands? Bullshit! A shout came followed by a palm attack on his back. Startled, Fiend Yang struck back. Enemy attack! Bam! The two palm met, and Fiend Yang's fat body stood in his pot while the attacker was flung back and spat blood. Isn't he weak? Startled, Fiend Yang blinked his eyes wide and laughed. Sending someone so weak after us? They must want us to take revenge and kill them, I see. If I wasn't hurt, a fatty like you wouldn't have survived my palm. The man's white hair was in disarray, covering his face, yet easily recognized through his voice. The fiends was startled. They cried, Venerable Bai, why did you ambush me? Did you bring enemies over? Now you want to kill me? Stop playing the victim when you already know who did this. Venerable Bai roared and gnashed his teeth at them. The trio was perplexed. Venerable Bai mocked. A bunch of fakers, all of you. You and him have been pals for so long, yet you don't know his plan? If I had known, I'd killed him when we had the chance and pushed Stewardjui up. Venerable Bai was filled with regret. Who the hell are you talking about? He's talking about me, Demon Scheming Sect's true sect leader. A cold voice came as Xiaoyue led a dozen ethereal stage experts over. Chapter 788, Break All Ties. Chapter 788, Break All Ties. Proofreader, Papatonks. Looking at Venerable Bai's furious glare with a cold eye, Xiaoyue mocked. Oh, Bai, you sure are something to run so far. Men, slaughter him. Yes. The guys behind him bowed and cupped their hands. The fiends hurriedly intervened. Wait, just what is going on? Wuyue, why are you trying to kill Venerable Bai? The sect is under attack. Shouldn't we first deal with the enemy and then talk this out? Deal with the enemy. Venerable Bai disdained. Fatty Yang, I thought you were with him, appearing here to stop me. That's why I attacked. I never thought you'd be so stupid. Ha ha ha, what enemy attack? There are only traitors. Fiend Yang shook and looked in shock. What traitors? Venerable Bai smirked, looking only at Xiaoyue with disgust. Xiaoyue was filled with bloodlust. Oh, Bai, I am the true sect leader of Demon Scheming Sect. You wanted to take my seat. You are the real traitors. Rotten scum. Someone like you, who brings an outside sect to kill your sect disciples and hunt down the stragglers, is not fit to be a sect leader. I only requested sect leader Rin and sect leader Xian's help to pacify the chaos. You forced me to do this. Xie Weiyue squinted. Where have I gone wrong? Why must you choose a kid only 5 years in the sect over me? You even changed the rules for him. Humph, your cruelty knows no bounds. You only know fear and never to be benevolent. The sect has been weak with you at the helm. You're not worthy of that seat. Demons like you have the gall to talk about kindness? We're a demonic sect. How am I to get you to fall in line if not by being a bit harsh? What about the sect rules? Hi, Xie Weiyue, this is where you lack. Zhuo Fan is also stubborn, but he does it so everyone accept his decisions. You only know how to bluster and threaten. An aimless demon like you has no future. Xie Weiyue's face twitched and clenched his fists. What path? What Tao? You're just like that old geezer. Ha. In the end, I only took another method to take back my seat, pushing Zhuo Fan off it. Ha, in the end, it's just a way to make me step down and get Zhuo Fan on top. Ha. Unfortunately, you'll never get the change. The final victory is me. Die. Xie Weiyue charged at the weakened Venerable Bai, clawing at his chest under the savage attack. Venerable Bai's beard fluttered, but he glared in hatred at Xie Weiyue with the same mocking smile, as if to say, You were never worth being a sect leader. Xie Weiyue grew outraged and put more power in his attack, wanting to take his heart. Hold on a minute. The shout was coming from Fiend Yang, who stood between the mug. Startled, Xie Weiyue halted, glaring coldly at him. Stand down. Weiyue, is this true? Fiend Yang did not wait for his response. Did you bring other sects to kill your fellow people just to steal a seat? It's not stealing a seat when it's mine to begin with. Bam! Xie Weiyue did not finish as a punch sent him 10 meters backward, blood leaking from his mouth. Fiend Yang's fist shook. But what was more overwhelmed was his heart. Is this what you meant by doing everything for the sect? To take it higher? Fiend Yang roared with a shaky voice, wiping his mouth. Xie Weiyue glared. Since I worked for it, I have to be compensated. It makes no sense that I'd be kicked away after we became a middle three sect and let some ungrateful bastard take over. Fatty Yang, step down, or I'll put you down. Xie Weiyue stomped forward with a cold face. The fierce bloodlust coming from him was heavy. Fatty Yang, you were never my match. Fiend Yang raised an eyebrow and faltered, but he steeled himself and shouted, I am a demon scheming sect venerable, and I won't stand and watch as my fellow sect member gets killed. Fine, then step down. This is sect leader's order. I want to take down this traitor. Bullshit. You're no sect leader, not after you brought enemies and killed your fellow sect members. Fiend Yang shouted as he exploded in power. Xie Weiyue shook and roared. Even you betray me. Xie Weiyue charged. Fiend Yang's heart shook, but he gritted his teeth and made a sign. A yellow fireball appeared and smashed for Xie Weiyue meteor. Humph, just an earthen soul. It's truly a fit for a fatty, all empty inside and useless. Xie Weiyue mocked. With a draconic roar, a black flood dragon came out from Xie Weiyue. It flicked its tail and struck the fireball. When the fireball faded and returned to Fiend Yang, he shook and spat blood, being hurt so easily it showed the gap between them. Die, fatty! Xie Weiyue clawed at his chest with all his bloodlust. Flood dragon claw! The other two fiends cried out, never imagining Xie Weiyue would be so ruthless as to kill Fiend Yang, his friend for centuries, but not even they could stop Xie Weiyue. They unleashed their souls to block, but the flood dragon's tail whipped them away and sending them coughing blood SS. Its sharp claws came like lightning on Fiend Yang. Xie Weiyue grinned. Cruelly, Fiend Yang sighed and shook his head with closed eyes. I have been overconfident when I never managed to beat you once. If I knew it would come to this, I would have never saved you. Oh well, Bai was right. Seizing your power was better than letting the sect fall like this. Ugh. Siawiwa's claw halted before his chest. Siawiwa remained like this, then took back his attack and simply kicked Fiend Yang Ak. With a wail, Fiend Yang was sent a dozen meters away and forced to spit blood, with teeth in it and my tooth. Fiend Yang's mouth shook and shrieked, "Damn you, Siawiwa. Kill me if you want to, but don't torture me like this. At least on account of me saving you back then." "Fatty Yang." The shout startled Fiend Yang. He looked up to see Siawiwa's cold face. Siawiwa turned to the other fiends and sighed. "And you too, I'll let you off today, but the next time I see you, all ties are broken. Then I'll treat you like the traitors you are, sparing none." Siawiwa flicked his sleeve and ripped it off to prove his decision. He turned around and led his men away. Only the three of them shook and looked at the sleeve on the ground with a sigh. From now on, they and Siawiwa were no longer brothers. Venerable Bai took a deep breath and made a heavy bow. "Forgive me, Venerables, I misunderstood you. We're on the same side." The trio shared a bitter smile. "Yeah, we're no longer with Siawiwa from here on out." They took the wounded Venerable Bai and sped away, not wanting any more pursuits. Siawiwa said that he would kill them if he met them again, so the farther they went the better. At the same time, other survivors were frantically fleeing for their lives from Siawiwa's men. Chapter 789, Support. Chapter 789, Support. Proofreader, Papatonks, Grandfather. In the Black Forest, the fiends were helping Venerable Bai run away under the pale moonlight. Suddenly, a cry got them all to stop and look to see Bai Lien coming over with others. Venerable Bai was relieved to see his granddaughter. "Liener, thank God you escaped." "Oh well, Bai, we just met with these kids. How are you together?" Venerable Chi came out of nowhere and looked at the fiends, understanding his wariness. Venerable Bai explained what happened, making him let go of all suspicion and treat the fiends as fellow people in need. They all talked about what they knew and sighed at the whole story. "I never knew Venerable Sure was such a schemer after Stewardjua. We're just too careless." Because the inner sect calmed down, we thought they gave up, but they had us in the end. Venerable Chi growled in anger. Venerable Bai frowned. "High Venerable and sect leader Zhou might be dead by now. Stragglers like us are barely numbering 50. Now that we have Siawiwa hunting us, where are we to go?" In any case, Western Lands territories had already been fixed. No matter where we go, we'll either be hunted or cast out. We have no choice but to flee Western Lands and think of another place. Grand Elder shook his head. "You think it's that easy? Thousands upon thousands of miles around us belong to the Empire's 3 guardian sects. Our only way is to go through Tianyu and then Chuanrong. But there's the beast taming sect there and the Empire's 3 guardian sects in Tianyu." "Tianyu?" Yuera lit up and shouted, "Isn't Master's clan Tianyu's number 1? When we attacked Mystical Heaven sect, we fought side by side. Now that we're in danger, they have to help us." "Well," Grand Elder frowned and hesitated. "Forget it. Mortal clans are cold. They might look after us if sect leader Zhou had been around. But with him gone, they would never accept us. Maybe they would sell us out the minute we meet, handing us over to Siawiwa. No way. I've met their clan head, and he's a very upright and loyal man." "Ha ha ha, girl, you're too young. How can there be a loyal man in the world? Everyone only looks after themselves. Moreover, sect leader Zhua is a demonic cultivator. With his shrewdness, his clan must be devious as well. Why would they get on the Empire's 3 guardian sects' bad side just for a bunch of stragglers?" Grand Elder shook his head. "The way I see it, we're better off not entrusting our fate to others." The others nodded as well. Only Yuera pouted and grumbled. She had been in dire straits with them and saw Luo Yunhai to be trustworthy. Venerable Bai's eyes lit up. "Maybe we should give Tianyu a try." The others turned to him. Venerable Chi frowned. "Tianyu is part of the 3 sects' territory. It's too dangerous with so many ears about. It's because of that it's safe." Grinning, Venerable Bai was sure of it. Think about it. Siawiwa would never think we'd lay low under his nose, right in Tianyu. He'll be sending his men anywhere else. So as long as we're fast enough, we'll be out of it before they find this out and escape danger." Startled, the others gave a thumbs up, and so the group planned on using Tianyu's vast area to leave Western lands for a new place to live. 3 months later, in a thick forest, gasps were heard as dozens of men passed through in this time. The group had split up to lure their pursuers away, then take the long way around to Tianyu and escape. "Are we all here?" "Venerable Bai," shouted. They all nodded. "Venerable Bai, everyone is accounted for." "Then let's pass through Tianyu and reach Chuanrong soon." Venerable Bai nodded and took the lead. They had yet to go far before a cackle reached their ears. "A bunch of oldies think they can live after what they did in Mystical Heaven Sect." Whoosh! Figures had the group surrounded as 100 experts in the ethereal stage showed their power. The group was mixed, and Venerable Bai saw among them people from Heaven Trailing Sect, and a few from Mystical Heaven Sect and Demon Scheming Sect. Curses! There's so many of them. If it were just Mystical Heaven Sect and Demon Scheming Sect, we might have fought our way out of this mess. But there's Heaven Trailing Sect as well. There was no way these few men could handle so many experts. Venerable Bai frowned and gnashed his teeth. "Ha ha ha, Venerable Bai, you've been in the Demon Scheming Sect for a while and should know Venerable Sure's cunning. You think he couldn't figure out your plan? The safest place is the most dangerous, ha ha ha. You sure worked hard to run us around in circles, but too bad none of us fell for it." An elder in black came out and mocked Venerable Bai. Knew he was an inner elder and was filled with regret. They had been going around all these days, only to end up playing in their hands. Venerable Bai looked at Venerable Chi, who said, "Oh well, Bai, let's fight to the last." "Fight? You can't do anything as you are." Grinning, the elder in black sneered. "Ever since you decided on Tianyu, everything else was but a string of mistakes that settled your fate." They were outraged, but helpless. This decision had indeed led them to a dead end, from which none could escape. But then a voice filled with disdain came from the forest. "A mistake? Ha ha ha, that's what you've done. Coming to Tianyu was the right choice." "What?" The elder in black shook and looked around. "Who's there?" "Their support. A couple dozen people, ethereal stage experts, with 5 being above the 5th layer, showed up." Yuera cried in joy. "Elderly, is it really you?" Snickering, Li Jingtian laughed. "We came to help you. Now attack together." "Sure." Venerable Bai was excited, never imagining their ally would come to help in this dire time of need. The Luo clan was a godsend. Venerable Bai's group unleashed their power and charged, while Li Jingtian's side attacked from the outside. In a blink of an eye, the hunter became the hunted. Thrown into chaos, the black elder cried out, "Who are you to stop Tianyu's 3 guardian sects?" "Ha ha ha, I don't know much about 3 sects, just that you're blocking our guests." Elderly laughed and slapped the man, replied with a palm attack. Bam! Li Jingtian was both powerful and ferocious, making the Demon Scheming Sect elder spew blood and fall back. The others were unsettled at this event, with the Luo clan's 5 experts in the lead. They were charging like a relentless force. The pursuers of Venerable Bai had no chance whatsoever. They might be 100, but the Luo clan and Venerable Bai joining forces only numbered around 60, while having a different level of quality. Not lacking in power at all, no matter how many they were. When morale fell, they would only retreat. Finally, the pursuers were now caught in the middle, having lost their savagery, forced to scurry around and flee. Even as they did so, they could not understand why they were routed despite having more people. On a far peak, a man and a woman stood. Luo clan Shadow Corps leader, Lei Yuding, and commander of Luo clan's forces. Yuming, seeing the fight was settled. Lei Yuding nodded. "It's just like you said. The elders were enough to defeat them all. In a meeting of rivals, the ferocious one has the upper hand." Yu Ming's eyes flashed. Sometimes a fight can be as brief as a thought, to fight or not to fight. This is enough to settle it. The elders had struck hard from the start, winning with merely 20 people. "All right, our rescue mission is over. Now it's up to Lung Wuchang's plan." Yu Ming left, and Lei Yuding watched him go with a smile before following. Not far, in a city, Lung Wuchang and Luo Yinhai were enjoying a wee cup of tea. Chapter 790, The Three Sages Act. Chapter 790, The Three Sages Act. Proofreader, Papatonks. Clan head, you don't look the least bit nervous. Sitting refined in the lounge, Lung Wuchang sipped on his tea while giving Luo Yinhai a smile. Luo Yinhai was unfazed. With Sir Lung so certain in his plan, then all must be assured. How would worry help at this point? Ha ha ha, clan head, you hold me in such high regard and trust. Touched, Lung Wuchang smiled over the years. Luo Yinhai had shown complete trust in his aides, making these old coots feel their efforts being rewarded and being loyal in return. Luo Yinhai did not speak, only smiled. Later, footsteps were heard as Li Jingtian's booming voice echoed. Clan head, we have brought them. Show them in. Luo Yinhai stood up and shouted in joy. Lung Wuchang smiled and stood as the door was opened and Li Jingtian led Venerable Bai's group to sit in the lounge. Seeing Luo Yinhai, they all showed their thanks. Thank you, Luo clan head, for the timely rescue. Please don't mind it, take a seat. Luo Yinhai glossed over. The Luo clan had been brought up by Brother Zhuo alone. As you are his trusted aides, then we are all on the same side. Finding out that you're in peril, it's only my duty to come help. We have fought shoulder to shoulder after all, ha ha ha. Luo Yinhai's bright laughter entered their ears and made them lower their heads. They were still doubtful the Luo clan was to be trusted, yet the clan head himself proved that loyalty hadn't yet died in the world. Just because of their connection with Zhuo Fan, the clan head risked his men to save them. This action of the Luo clan had painted a target on them. Becoming an enemy of the three sects, they all felt ashamed. With Venerable Bai taking a step forward and making a deep bow, Luo clan head, we've dragged you into this. You could have stayed outside of the three sects' troubles, but now. Elder Bai, it's fine. Since someone wants to take out Brother Zhuo, we, the Luo clan, are already involved. Luo Yinhai's eyes flashed, his face hard. When I became clan head, I vowed that Brother Zhuo's enemies are Luo clan's enemies. No matter who it is or how many, the Luo clan will have Brother Zhuo's back all the way. Shaking, they all were impressed by Luo Yinhai's valor. Just what kind of friendship could he have to give everything for one man, even his whole clan? No wonder Steward Zhuo wanted to give up being sect leader. This man was worth following. Venerable Bai and the others admired him. Not even in their long years in the demon scheming sect had they seen such a worthy man to follow. The demon scheming sect only cared about self-interest. While the Luo clan was a united group, now they understood why Zhuo Fan was so eager to get back. Boom! Explosions came, followed by the world shaking around them. With the lounge about to collapse, the men panicked, and Luo Yinhai frowned. He turned to Lung Wuchang with a questioning look. Lung Wuchang smiled. Ha ha ha, easy now. There, but the pursuers attacking the defensive array. Pursuers? Those 100 ethereal stage experts? Startled, Venerable Qi cried, That's bad! An average array can't hold back so many ethereal stage experts. The others grew tense and were ready to fight at any moment. Lung Wuchang and Luo Yinhai shared a look and laughed. It's fine. I already surmised you'd want to escape Western lands through Tianyu. That's why 3 months earlier I had men set up 18 arrays, all above 7th grade. Also, they all use sacred stones. And since the elders are overlooking it, those 100 thugs can't put a dent in it. Thugs? Them? Shocked, they all were flabbergasted. Who's he to call 100 ethereal stage experts thugs? Isn't he too cocky? He's only in the radiant stage too. Maybe he's like High Venerable, hiding his power behind lower cultivation? They then looked behind to see Li Jingtian gone. Sir, may I ask Venerable Bai bowed. Lung Wuchang cupped his hands. I am Lung Wuchang of Tianyu. What? Your unwanted contriver, one of the 3 sages? Venerable Bai and the others were stunned. Sir's reputation precedes you. Lung Wuchang waved his hand. Please, as a cultivator, I am nothing to you. but as a supervisor with enough pawns in my hand, I can beat any one of you. Indeed, Sir's genius has long since been known. I never imagined you'd stay in the Luo clan. We're shocked. Venerable Bai and the others nodded. They knew that while Lung Wuchang wasn't much in terms of cultivation, but as a supervisor of the clan, he had countless people he could direct and multiply their effective power in the cultivating world. Especially in the Western lands, there were hardly many large-scale conflicts where his advantage could be used. But now, since they were hunted by 3 sects, they needed a sharp mind like Lung Wuchang more than anything understanding their intent. Lung Wuchang smiled. From the report Yu Ming sent, these people fled at the first sign of battle. No one can focus their power, and thus shows they are headless. They look to be made up of ethereal stage experts, but as a whole they're nothing but thugs. The best way to deal with them is in 3 clashes. First is an all-out attack, second will be their crushed spirits, and third comes their feebleness. Afterward they would scurry away. That's why you need not worry. They'll soon be running back home. Sir Lung, the Yu Ming you're talking about, is he perhaps insidious demon Yu Giki's disciple? Lung Wuchang nodded. You heard of him too? Yu Giki wanted to join the demon scheming sect to get Hell Valley an ally, but his aptitude was poor and he was disregarded. But then he became one of Tianyu's 3 sages, earning his name. To gain fame with a shrewd mind is much harder. I never thought his disciple would be with the Luo clan. No wonder the Luo clan evolved so much with 2 sages. Venerable Bai admired, and the others echoed him. Lung Wuchang and Luo Yinhai shared a smile 15 minutes later. The booming stopped, and Yu Ming came in with the elders. Lung Wuchang asked, Is it over? Didn't I have you strike them as they fell back to push them further? No point. Yu Ming shrugged. You wanted to exhaust them completely and buy time when calling for help for Zhuge, but I have convinced them to leave. They won't be back for a while. It all worked out the same. Lung Wuchang smiled, convinced. Yes, their group consisted of 65 from Heaven Trailing Sect, 26 from Demon Scheming Sect, and 11 from Mystical Heaven Sect. We held complete advantage over the fight and could finish them off without a problem, but that would ruin your plan, right? Ha! Yu Ming sat down. So I took it upon myself to kill the 26 from Demon Scheming Sect, heavily wound the 11 from Mystical Heaven Sect, and as for Heaven Trailing Sects, I told them I received news that we and Heaven Trailing Sect had made peace. I had them go back to their sect leader and ask him themselves. Lung Wuchang raised an eyebrow. News? Why haven't I heard of it? It should come at some point, or you wouldn't have let me fight with Heaven Trailing Sect's safety in mind. You trust him that much. As the previous Prime Minister of the Empire, foreign affairs were his strongest suit. Grinning, Yu Ming ignored the extra people around and dangled one leg over the other after taking his teacup. Lung Wuchang laughed. True, the old guy has that for him. Sir Lung, who are you talking about? Luo Yinhai was confused. Lung Wuchang's eyes flashed as he bowed. Clan head, that old guy Zhuge Changfeng had sent a message 2 months ago, saying that he'll return from visiting other nations. Steward Zhuge is coming back. Luo Yinhai, cried. Lung Wuchang smiled. I have informed him of our situation and of my plan, and proposed that he not return yet, but make a trip to Heaven Trailing Sect. Heaven Trailing Sect. The rest went bug-eyed. Venerable Bai was shocked. Lung Wuchang smiled. Yes, that sect. In fact, the Luo clan has a 3rd sage as well. With his silver tongue, your life should be guaranteed. Venerable Bai blinked in disbelief. I mean that with all 3 sages from Tianyu acting up, we'll turn your situation around and get the pursuit off you. Or, if we had let clan head go ahead with the whole clan and be ruled by emotions, we'd never have agreed to save you so easily. Lung Wuchang shook his head. Chapter 791. Distant Allies, Close Enemies. Chapter 791. Distant Allies, Close Enemies. Proofreader, Papatonks. Tap tap. In a dusky hall, 2 rows of faint candlelights burned gently. The only sound was the rhythmic steps of a single person sitting on the guest chair. An aged man was sipping on his tea as the footsteps came. He placed the cup down on the table and waited, the grand steward of the best clan in Tianyu. Zhuge Changfeng, ha ha ha. Following the bright laughter, a sturdy middle-aged man came out from the shadows and into the light, taking the seat of honor, heaven-trailing sect leader Rin Xiaoyan. Yesterday Tianyu Empire's prime minister, and now Luo clan's first steward. The title might have changed, but the power is no less than that of a prime minister. Zhuge Changfeng, what are you doing here instead of minding Tianyu's affairs? Zhuge Changfeng stood up and made a light bow. Sect leader Ren, heaven-trailing sect, is the head of the Tenayu's 3 guardian sects, and I am ashamed to say that in all my decades as prime minister and now steward of Luo clan, I have failed in paying my respects to your glorious sect. Secular clans and sects hardly ever meet. No apology needed. Rin Xiaoyan waved his hand. I wonder what brought on this visit from miles away. Zhuge Changfeng smiled and bowed again. I shall be frank, sect leader. I have come with a defined purpose in mind. I am before sect leader with a request. What is it? Rin Xiaoyan raised an eyebrow. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes flashed. I hope that sect leader Rin may be willing to go easy on the demon-scheming sect traitors. Oh! Rin Xiaoyan stared hard into Zhuge Changfeng's tranquil gaze, then mocked. You're from Tianyu, but nonetheless informed. You heard of Western Land's 9 sects affairs quite fast. But why do you want to save them? Is it for your previous steward, Zhuo Fan? Rin Xiaoyan's tone dropped and became chilling one word out of line, and Zhuge Changfeng would find himself gone from this world. Zhuge Changfeng smiled still and nodded. In a way, but not fully. How so? Of course there's the respect and gratitude towards steward Zhuo's former efforts. Even if strays, they were once under steward Zhuo's wing, and we have to lend a hand, lest we'd be taken as ingrates. Sir must know by now of our young clan head's personality, holding loyalty above all else. By not doing this now, it will harm his name. Squinting, Ren Xiaoyan sneered. So what you're telling me is that the Luo clan is helping the traitors for their reputation. Ren Xiaoyan's hand flicked and bloodthirst flickered in his eyes. Not entirely, since there's still respect for the previous steward Zhuo, even if not enough to warrant the destruction of the clan. That's why it's most out of reputation. The world is filled with people striving for fame, and our clan head is no exception. Zhuge Changfeng chuckled and sighed. Over the years, Tianyu has flourished and in turn filled the 3 sects' coffers, with the tribute growing yearly. Sect leader Rin is sure to know this. Why? All because of the Luo alliance drawing in dozens of clans, big and small, from the nearby nations and empires. But why could the Luo alliance attract so many people? It is without a doubt our clan heads' righteous and loyal nature that set their minds at ease. This is a reputation we have to protect, and, most of all, make excessive use of it. Rin Xiaoyan's eyes shook, and his hand stopped to ponder. Zhuge Changfeng grinned and sighed. He knew very well that the wrong word would have his blood paint these walls. Ren Xiaoyan was only testing him to check just how far the Luo clan would go for Zhuo Fan alone. Just how much were the two tied up if the Luo clan still cared for Zhuo Fan, or if they were outraged over Zhuo Fan's actions. Ren Xiaoyan would have killed Zhuge Changfeng then and there. Following with the Luo clan, he had no intention of fostering a group of enemies, however. Zhuge Changfeng's answer was smooth, avoiding all pitfalls. If he had said there was no loyalty for Zhuo Fan left, then it would have been an outright lie. Zhuo Fan had been the Luo clan's previous steward that made the Luo clan what it was today. Yet the clan would just ignore all that. Rin Xiaoyan would have slapped him in the hereafter where he stood. Zhuge Changfeng was shrewder than most, saying there was some loyalty left, but not the main cause for the clan's decision. We're not disregarding Zhuo Fan's gratitude, just thinking of profits. Furthermore, we're using that bit of loyalty to earn even more by making use of our reputation. This was enough to get Ren Xiaoyan to relax. Since they held interests above their past relations, He put them getting revenge for Zhuo Fan at the back of his mind. They had nothing to gain by fighting heaven-trailing sect anyway, as a man with an eye for profit himself. There was no way they would risk it all just for Zhuo Fan's hatred to be sated. That was what made this line so believable. It appealed to his own principles, while a Luo clan without an ounce of gratitude would have been worse. Totally unreliable. He only wanted to see what the Luo clan cared about. Happy to know now that it was Prof. Zhuge Changfeng was also sharp in pointing out Tianyu was doing so much better now. You guardian sects get almost double every year. All because of the Luo clan. Without us, you'd end up starving. This struck where it hurt the most and made him withdraw his impulse of slapping the Luo clan's envoy dead. So, your request to let the traitors go was all about keeping your loyal reputation. Ren Xiaoyan probed after a pause. I have promised sect leader Xie to cull any traitors. Zhuge Changfeng shook his head. Sect leader Ren, I would have never taken the risk if it was just merely out of reputation. We want to take them because we will fight the demon-scheming sect. What? Ren Xiaoyun's eyes bugged out. His hand tightened with bloodthirst. A secular clan wants to fight a sect? What a joke! Ren Xiaoyan was enraged. His heart was once again beating frantically. Heaven-trailing sect was in cahoots with the demon-scheming sect right now. Fighting them was fighting heaven-trailing sect. No. The Luo clan still cares about getting revenge for Zhuo Fan. Zhuge Changfeng read him like a book, sighing dramatically. Sect leader Ren, that's not my meaning at all. We, of course, would want to live at peace with the three sects for thousands of years to come. But that doesn't mean the demon-scheming sect wants to. I heard that the demon-scheming sect leader Xiaoyue has a nasty temper and is ruthless. He can kill Zhuo Fan all he wants, not like we can do anything. What I fear, though, is that he'll drag innocent people into this. Because Zhuo Fan came from the Luo clan, he'll cull us all. We thus have no choice but gather anyone that can help and fight to the death. Esser knows. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The demon-scheming sect traitors don't hate you and Mystical Heaven sect the most, since they already attacked Mystical Heaven sect before. The two sects coming to attack was natural. They hate Xie Wuyue with a passion, so we must work together and resist the demon-scheming sect. Oh, so that's how it is. Ren Xiaoyan eased a breath. Luo clan is using its power to defend itself, not target demon-scheming sect specifically and our alliance. This made him relax. He did not notice that Zhuge Changfeng's wording made it so venerable. Bai's group hated only Xie Wuyue. Keeping heaven-trailing sect out of it, this was how Ren Xiaoyan decided to let them be when he joined Xie Wuyue in culling everyone. He feared retaliation. And since he had nothing against them to begin with, why push things so far? Besides, these men might become a weapon to keep demon-scheming sect in check. Ren Xiaoyan thus made his decision, but he decided to play along for now, frowning. In the end, letting them go is up to the demon-scheming sect. Heaven-trailing sect can do it, but I can't say the same about demon-scheming sect. Ha ha ha. Sect leader Ren, who doesn't know that heaven-trailing sect is the leader in the Empire's 3 guardian sects. Would the other 2 sect go against your word? Zhuge Changfeng praised. I'll be frank here, demon-scheming sect and mystical heaven sect are nothing more than dying dogs. Can they still be part of the guardian sects? Especially demon-scheming sect, after that calamity. How many experts does it have? How can it protect Tianyu? Our clan had decided to cut 10% out of their tribute and give it to heaven-trailing sect. Shaken up, Ren Xiaoyun's heart burst with joy, but he didn't let it show. How can we? They have been through so much pain in doing this. Sect leader Ren, no need to be polite. Those capable always earn more. With the demon-scheming sect's miserable state, it's not worth 20% of Tianyu's resources. Tianyu's safety would, in the end, depend on heaven-trailing sect. Zhuge Changfeng cupped his hands as he finished his speech. Ren Xiaoyun frowned in fake anger. Are you trying to turn the 3 sects on each other? Demon-scheming sect is about to become a middle 3 sect. Sect leader Ren. Zhuge Changfeng cut him off with sneer. After such an event, regardless of power and fame, would it still be fit to be a middle three sect? Rin Xiaoyan jerked awake and then laughed before slapping his shoulder. Ha ha ha. Chapter 792, Revenge. Chapter 792, Revenge. Proofreader, Papatonks. That settles it, sect leader Rin. Will sir want to look at this year's shares? Zhuge Changfeng made a bow and gave a smile that was easy to understand. Ren Xiaoyan nodded. The flourishing of Tianyu depends on your Luo clan. Don't worry, as the Empire's 3 guardian sects, no one will dare to stir chaos in Tianyu, not even from the 3 sections. Ha ha ha. Thank you, sect leader Rin. With another deep bow, Zhuge Changfeng withdrew from the hall, seeing him go. Ren Xiaoyan nodded, feeling pleased with himself. From now on, the demon scheming sect would cease to be a threat to him, while Tianyu's representative was now under heaven-trailing sect Tianyu's resources. Even trades, all would be in heaven-trailing sect's pocket. The other 2 sects? Humph! They dare think about my money when they're hanging by a thread? In all honesty, after all this chaos Zhuofan stirred up, the mystical heaven sect ended up ruined while the demon scheming sect crippled. Only heaven-trailing sect was the big winner here, taking all of Tianyu's income for himself. I've won big time in this, ha ha ha. Rin Xiaoyan was giddy on the inside, then shouted, Guard! Yes, sir. A man in black up and appeared in a bow. Ren Xiaoyan spoke. Use Ascending Jade to tell the pursuers of the demon scheming sect remnants to come back. Also, use my name to warn the demon scheming sect and mystical heaven sect that they are forbidden from interfering inside Tianyu and disturbing it. Yes, sir. The man bowed again, but paused. Ren Xiaoyan frowned. Why are you still standing there? Sect leader, you've been talking with that man so far, and I have yet to notify you. Actually, the pursuers of the demon scheming sect remnants have already returned. What? Who told them to come back so soon? I didn't even get to send them a message. Ren Xiaoyan raised an eyebrow. The man hesitated. Sect leader, from the elders recounting. They pursued the remnants at Tianyu's border when they met Luo clan's experts blocking them. They trapped the elders' team, but then let them go, telling me to tell sir that they have reached an agreement with sect leader. They were unclear and had not received sir's message. But since they were let go, they came to confirm this. Sect leader. Stumped for a long time. Ren Xiaoyan came to and muttered, They said they had a deal with me? Even if that's true, it just took effect moments ago. Ren Xiaoyan turned to where Zhuge Changfeng was gone and sighed. They truly believed a mere old man's ramblings could persuade me. Truly cunning, the Luo clan has talents, and it keeps growing. Sect leader. The man asked, Do I send the message? Ren Xiaoyan gnashed his teeth. I hate how a secular clan toyed with me. But I have to admit, Zhuge Changfeng's words moved me. Send it. Let the 2 sects know Tianyu's head of power, Luo clan, is heaven trailing sect's representative. It has no ties with the demon scheming sect. Yes, sir. The man nodded and vanished, leaving Ren Xiaoyan with his muttering. Zhuge Changfeng, the 3 sages. Humph! I've now come to see what you are. A month later, Zhuge Changfeng was back in the Luo clan's home, Windgaze City. Everyone gathered in the hall, waiting for his news. Venerable Bai's group was the most tense, wanting to rush through Tianyu still and enter Chuanrong to escape pursuit. Luo Yinhai had to advise him many times to wait. Now that Steward Zhuge was back, they all gathered around, eager to know the answer. Zhuge Changfeng calmly looked at them and smiled, milking the tense moment for all it was worth. The only ones calm were Lung Wucheng and Yuming. Sipping tea at leisure, Steward Zhuge, how is it? Luo Yinhai could not hold it in smirking. Zhuge Changfeng was about to speak, but Lung Wucheng put one leg over the other as he began. Clan head, just look at his obnoxious grin. Of course he did it. Hey, old Lung, I risked my life in mediating the problem while you just relaxed in your comfy chair. Zhuge Changfeng glared. Lung Wucheng stuck his chin out. And I've been making plans here. Shitty plans more like it. You think I or Yu Ming can't do the same. Zhuge Changfeng mocked. Try having a chat with that stone-cold Rin Xiaoyan. See how you'd fare then. This time I have to agree with Steward Zhuge. He is much better at us in being a mediator. I am best at strategizing while you are at shooting your mouth. Yu Ming grinned. Lung Wuchang's face twitched. Hey, are you two ganging up on me now? My tactics aren't for show. Old Zhuge, did you divide Tianyu's resources again? Cutting 10% from the demon scheming sect and adding to heaven trailing sect? Hee, I'm not an unwanted contriver for nothing. Since when was it your plan? Zhuge Changfeng mocked. Since the demon scheming sect wants to fight us, there's no point in holding back at all. And we needed a new cover too. Giving 10% to heaven trailing sect will make the two sects look cross, but demon scheming sect's hatred will turn on heaven trailing sect. While mystical heaven sect's unchanged income would make it look from the side at their scuffle. This way it won't mind us as well. Adding heaven trailing sect's cover to that, the matter is settled. Really, Steward Zhuge, is it really over? Luo Yinhai cheered. Zhuge Changfeng nodded. Of course, clan head can rest easy. It wasn't much anyway. Far more relaxed than Tianyu's previous tangled mess. First of all, the three sects aren't being difficult, especially heaven trailing sect. It sent troops to help the demon scheming sect, but it was only to control their growth. With it becoming a middle three sect, it posed a threat to heaven trailing sect. It was not for some meager 5,000 sacred stones, but to make sure that never happened, even going against Double Dragon Manor's rules openly. Since he has a goal, then that made it easier. Now that we're on his side, suppressing the demon scheming sect together would sure to put a wide smile on his face. And to avoid the demon scheming sect from being up against the wall, we only took just 10%, making it turn on heaven trailing sect as well, and not us. Otherwise, if we had cut every supply with it, it would be against Western lands rules and force it to invade Tianyu, at least with some income from us. They'd think twice about ruining Tianyu. This makes us appear more neutral. Lung Wuchang explained. Zhuge Changfeng mocked. Easier said than done. Implementing it has a lot of dangers. Sir Lung, if it had been you who went, you'd have been obliterated. Hey, Lung! Wuchang shouted. Luo Yinhai smiled as he eased up the tension, while none of these intellectuals boasted they were the best. Neither was about to back down. Always butting heads when they met Venerable Bai's side was stumped they had been hounded by three sects, yet the matter had been solved, just like that. This was the power of the three sages looking at them bickering, with Luo Yinhai mediating. Venerable Bai was gratified they had little in terms of cultivation, but they had their own skills no one could surpass. All right now, we should get ready to avenge Brother Zhua. The bickering stopped and Luo Yinhai turned serious. His eyes read the others were pensive as well. According to our scouts, Steward Zhua had been under attack, resulting in an inferno for 1,000 miles and a barren wasteland for many more. Lung Wuchang grumbled. Just what has the universal righteous sect done? Zhuge Changfeng muttered. For revenge, we must first gather our strength. Our enemies are 4 sects, with one being a superior 3 sect. You still want revenge? Venerable Bai looked at them in disbelief. The enemy is stronger than you can imagine, a sect for thousands of years. Luo Yinhai shouted. No matter who it is, this vengeance shall be paid in full. The Luo clan rose under Brother Zhua's protection. We all owe him our lives. This is something we must do. Luo Yunhai's bold words echoed in everyone's ears. Venerable Bai shouted. Then count us in as well.